What is up, everybody, and welcome back to day 2 of the Hazeblade Invitational. I am so excited, you guys. Day 1 was absolutely awesome. I had an absolute blast just watching everything unfold behind the scenes while I was hectically just scrambling trying to figure out this whole bingo card thing, but we had a great time with it. We got all the numbers. We're going to be bringing you guys the leaderboard carrying over from yesterday. We've updated the leaderboard with all of the updates to the bingo card that came in with some of the things we had to do in post, so we have the most accurate score that we can possibly have for you now. And it's going to be a great time, guys. We have the Businessman Challenge today, which was announced at the end of yesterday's stream. If you guys happen to miss yesterday's stream, first off, definitely go check it out. It was an absolute blast. But if you did happen to miss it here on Twitch, it is going to be showing up over on my YouTube channel. You guys can subscribe over there at youtube.com/@Hazeblade and we're going to have the entire tournament going over there. And it's good. It's going to be a whole collection of things as we start to do more events. That VOD channel is going to feature all kinds of unedited footage coming over from my channel. So check that out, guys. But we do have a lot of events planned for today, so a lot of what we're going to be focusing on here is really just getting down into what some of these strategies are going to look like here with the Businessman Challenge. Again, if you guys did miss yesterday, the whole premise of this challenge is that the runners are going to have to try to beat the game with as much money in their bank accounts as possible. And by bank accounts, I mean just on-hand cash from working with the merchant. So it can't be tied up in any, things in the attaché case or anything. It has to be just flat out pesetas. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. And of course, just a couple of quick things here. Wouldn't be a high octane stream over here at twitch.tv/Hazeblade if it wasn't sponsored by our friends over at G Fuel. Today, I know yesterday we were featuring the Elden Ring flavor. Today, I have the cotton candy flavor. You guys can pick that up over at gfuel.com. Don't forget to use code HAZE at checkout for up to 30% off. There may be I haven't gone over there real quick. I probably should check, but they are, or maybe they were running a spring BOGO. A summer BOGO. I said spring yesterday. Their summer BOGO is actually going on for another 56 minutes, guys. Once it's gone, it's probably not going to be back until next season. So if you guys are looking to take advantage of some awesome flavors, like my personal favorite, which is the snow cone flavor, make sure you guys head on over there and take advantage of that while it still lasts. And of course, once that BOGO goes away, you can of course still use code HAZE for up to 30% off at checkout. So definitely do that. Check out the BOGO. There's some awesome flavors on there, and I'm sure you'll find one that you love. So but yeah, let's get into the recap and everything from yesterday. So just looking very quickly here at the totals from yesterday. We did have Missing No coming in the lead with 686 points, just pretty much all but maybe one or two, if I remember right there on the bingo card, just almost completely maxing that out. Also finishing, I believe that was second that he got, so that put him at 686. Followed by Fregelhausen at 650 points. We had Blanks coming in at 616 points. And then we had Joydern, who we had to update his bingo card a little bit later on because we had one person running both bingo cards for him and Shark. So we did identify 5 bingos for Joydern, putting him at 465 points. And in 5th place, Shark with 200 points. But guys, it's only day 1 scores here, and we still have 2 days left of competition. So it is absolutely, as the stakes start to get higher today, we are going to continue to see this leaderboard move around. And I think today we're going to see a lot of movement. And we're going to talk about that here because I am joined by my incredibly talented co-host, Sneevil, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Sneevil, how are you?
Oh, hey, Haze. I'm doing awesome. Hi, chat. Welcome to day 2. I'm just really excited to see, like you were saying, how the leaderboard will change, how the strategy is going to be for this run, because I've never seen a run, especially for Resident Evil 4 Remake, where it's to find the most money. Like, usually you just get enough money to get what you need to buy, and then that's it. But now they're going to need to go backtrack, get all the treasures. Also, they might not want to buy like rocket launchers for certain bosses like they normally would because it's really expensive. There's gonna be this is gonna be crazy. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is what we kind of talked about. Sneevil and I were strategizing a little bit before the stream, And that's one of the things we talked about a lot, is that, with the businessman challenge, I think we're going to see a lot of the routing from any % pro in order to get optimal money and things like that. But I do think we're going to get a sneak peek today at some of those no merchant strats, because money being as important as it is, we're not really going to be able to use rocket launchers and all of the crazy expensive stuff for fear of losing out on that cash. So, the runners are going to have 3 hours today. So I think that's plenty of time that, for safety strats and grabbing the extra money and whatnot. I do think that there's going to be a lot of room there for maybe some improv. We might see some.
There's going to be quite a bit of improv.
We might see some crazy stuff. Yeah. And speaking of which, as with yesterday, my mods are on the prowl for the G Fuel play of the day. Right off the rip here, once we start getting into the runs here in about 10 minutes. We're going to have the G Fuel play of the day again today. And if you guys don't remember from yesterday, or if you weren't here, I'll fill you guys in. So what we do for the G Fuel play of the day is my mod team is going to be hunting around through everybody's streams that's participating in the tournament. And we're going to pick the top 2 clips. We'll show them off to you guys, and then you guys actually get to pick the G Fuel winner of the day, and the winner gets to have a G Fuel care package shipped to them, and get to try out some of the amazing flavors that G Fuel has. So should be a pretty exciting time there. I made a small mistake yesterday by showing the first clip, and actually I didn't show the first clip. I just talked about it.
I'm like, Hayes, I can't see the clip, and no one else could either. That was great, though.
Yeah, well, we did end up watching it after. We watched it a few times, but yeah, the first time that was a little, for those of you that don't know, I'm producing on the back end in addition to helping out with hosting and running the bingo cards and tallying up all the scores. I'm doing a lot of things by myself behind the scenes, so it was a small oversight. I do apologize, and I think we have worked out a lot of the technical issues from yesterday, so we should have a much smoother ride today. But yeah, tell me a little bit, Sneevil, what's your kind of forecast for today? What do you kind of think we're gonna see? And who is your we got the businessman challenge, so who's your money on today?
Who's my money on? I honestly don't know. After yesterday, I just saw how talented all the runners were. For example, Joydern came in late, still, did so well. I was so surprised. Came in half an hour late. Yeah. And just was able to finish the run, got quite a few bingos. This just shows how talented the runners are. And to remind you, if you weren't here yesterday, in order to get into this competition, you had to submit a new game, professional, no merchant run, and that's one of the hardest runs in Resident Evil 4 Remake. So even to get into this tournament, you need to be highly skilled. So today, for the next 2 days of the tournament, I can guarantee you some high-level gameplay, because if we're just going off yesterday, it's going to be pretty nuts today.
Absolutely.
But in terms of strategy, I'm curious about, I know a lot of people are going to be backtracking for the same treasures, especially the ones that are worth a lot. But I'm curious of, because the very strong enemies, the knights drop spinels that you can trade for treasure. There's also, the dude with the hammer, the brute, you can kill those guys for emeralds. So are you going to wait and, try to kill him for an emerald? I'm not sure what Dr. Salvador drops, but if he drops a gem, are you gonna want to go for that gem and go for the extra kill, or are you gonna want to save your ammo? It's just, I don't know what these runners are gonna do. I feel like everyone's gonna have a very different strategy going into it. Yeah, and that makes it more exciting.
And you bring up a good point there too, because as with yesterday, the runners are gonna have 3 hours in order to complete this challenge and farm up as much money as they can. So it is gonna be interesting to see what kind of decisions are gonna be made for the purposes of, okay, we have 3 hours, there's all this extra treasure we need to route in. We also need to allocate some extra time for doing boss fights, maybe a little slower if you're not trying to use a rocket launcher or spend and waste money upgrading things. You do get most of that money back if you upgrade the rifle, for example, but you are going to lose some money. So I think we are, with the limited amount of time that the runners have had to prepare, which, by the way, you guys, if you missed it yesterday, the runners just found out about this challenge at, I guess it was about, 5:15 p.m. yesterday, Eastern Daylight Time. So they have had less than 24 hours to prepare a route for today. So I think we're going to see a wide range of strategies today. Yeah. Just considering the limited amount of time, I think we'll see some consistencies in picking up treasures, but I think in terms of boss fights and overall just movement, routing and things, I think we are gonna see a lot of different decisions made, especially when it comes to things like Dr. Salvador and killing brutes and the things that don't give you a lot of money, but when you add it up,
money. You might need it,
exactly.
You know?
When you add it up, it's gonna amount to so much. And I think with all of the scripted treasures and combining things, that money I think is already kind of given that people are gonna go for that. So I think it's probably going to come down to those things in the grand scheme of it. And then on top of that, we also have the speedrun bonus as well. So we're going to have the top 4 getting that. You get that 10% bonus if you're in first place, and then it goes down by 2% all the way down to 4th place. So, you know, you're going to be considering that bonus as well, that, you know, maybe you can make up some ground if you don't necessarily take first place on the challenge side of it. So there's a lot of moving parts into this tournament, but that's what makes it so hectic and why all of this action as it unfolds is going to be just, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, like if we're going just by how bingo went yesterday, like the runners only had, what, 24 hours for bingo as well to prepare. And I did not expect anyone to get near completing their bingo cards. But I believe, did we have one runner that was missing 1 on their bingo card and they got the rest?
Yeah, I think it was. Crazy. I think it was missing. I think missing did all but 1, and I think blanks maybe missed 2 or 3, but they were all just, you know, it really came down to that S+ ranking, which huge shout out to blanks, by the way, with the S+. The only person yesterday. Yeah, the only person yesterday who managed to get the S+ off of their bingo card. It did come at a little bit of a cost because he gave up 2 other things on the bingo card, which actually he needed all of them to get the 1 row of bingos, but then the S+ was crucial to 2 other bingos, which he did get. So I think it was one of those trade-off things where when you're running low on time, you're already at the end of the game, you don't want to necessarily take those kind of risks when, you know, you've only got a handful of minutes remaining on the clock, and God forbid you don't want anything catastrophic to go wrong at Sadler and then potentially give up all of that time and not be able to get your completion bonus. So
I'm kind of thinking now about the time limit for today. At first I was like 3 hours, that's enough time, but also you have to remember, like, runners haven't had time to really practice the run and see how long it actually takes with all the new strategies and all the new treasures they want to pick up. So I feel like some runners might finish way ahead of the, like, deadline. Other ones I think are going to be really close to that 3-hour mark, and I know they probably feel the pressure with like 10 minutes left. It's like, okay, we just gotta go now, but I'm interested to see how fast everyone finishes today.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, you know, again, if we look at this leaderboard spread, I'll pull up the leaderboard for everyone real quick just to take another, just a quick recap of yesterday. We do have about a 486 point spread between first and last place, but I want to reiterate here that this is nowhere near over. If you're in Shark's position, we know based on Shark's just track record with RE4, former world record holder of the any percent professional category just gave that up to missing actually just a few days ago. And so if Shark's having a good day today, there's a very good chance that we could actually see some really significant leaderboard movement here with Shark being able to perform today. Joydern, as we mentioned yesterday, coming in late into the competition, but still managing to snag 5 bingos and finish in time for that 200 point bonus. So again, Joydern having a great day today. We could see some movement there. We have Blanks. I know Blanks was practicing like crazy yesterday. And ultimately, you know, with Missing and Fraggle, I think you really just, if you're in their position right now, you just really want to maintain that position and not try to go overly bold today while trying to maintain that lead. But we are getting pretty close here. It is just about time to kick off the runs for the day. We have all of our runners at the main menu, and Sneevil, give us a quick summation of what you're kind of hoping to see within these first couple of minutes.
So the first couple of minutes, I think the village honestly is going to be pretty simple. I don't remember what Dr. Salvador drops, but if he does drop something good, I think a couple people might go for the kill. Other than that, I think people are going to be using the speedrun strategy on the village. They might grab some blue medallions in the farm just to get some spinels to maybe buy some treasures later. And then I really don't know what's going to happen for the rest. I'm assuming a lot of treasure pickups and a lot of boss fights that don't use the strategy they're used to, so I'm very excited.
Same here, and I think we're probably going to start to see some of those discrepancies in the route coming up relatively soon, especially if we run into a situation where people are making the decision to kill that Salvador at the beginning. I want to say that, I mean, he drops I think it's a ruby, which again, it's not much, but everything matters here when the entire objective is to go into it with as much money as possible. So, we'll definitely have to see, but it is time to go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and start zooming in on these runners. It is time to begin day 2 of the Hazeblade Invitational. Let's go.
All right, good luck to all the runners. It looks like we're all getting started right away. And the first one off blanks. By the way, chat, it doesn't really matter too much about the actual time. Is the timer oh, never mind. Okay, there are the timers right now.
Just had to do a quick refresh. Yep.
for the bonus, so the top 4 finishers, just for time, get a bonus, I believe, and that's going to be going by the in-game time. So it doesn't really matter who finishes first by what you see. It's more what the in-game timer is. However, the 3-hour timer at the top does go by just real life time. So if they don't finish the run within that 3-hour mark, you do not get, I don't think you get any points for today, because in order to get the points for the treasures and to have the most money, you need to actually get to the end of the run for that to count. So I think you need to complete the run today or else you get no points at all. So high pressure to really stay within that time limit and not go over, because if they do go over, I mean, that's going to put them very behind in the leaderboards.
Absolutely, and with the stakes increasing by the day, we go into the bingo card, and as complicated as it was visually to keep up with what was happening on the bingo cards yesterday, I think what really,
it's a little chaotic.
Oh, absolutely, that's what we're here for, though, But with that, it's not too difficult to go through, and check off the boxes on the bingo card and get yourself some points. And overall, that process, you still have to know what you're doing and build out the route and whatnot. But the overall accrual of points was not entirely contingent upon finishing the run. But today and tomorrow, it is absolutely imperative that these runners really nail down the strategies here, because of the limited time frame that they have to work with in order to get the points that they need and also get that completion bonus. And of course, even more so once we get into tomorrow, because the point spread, depending on where you finish tomorrow, is substantial, to the point where if you're in last place today, you've really got to make sure that you put on a great show tomorrow, so that way you can make up the difference there on those points. And again, the stakes do increase every day, so there's still a chance for you, but again, you really don't want to end today with a significant spread on the points.
Yeah, I'm interested. Let's see what happens. Everyone seems to be reaching the village at the same time. I do see some people picking up a lot of extra ammo that they normally wouldn't. And I just remembered handgun ammo actually sells for quite a lot if you build enough up in your inventory. So I think people are going to be selling, well, people will be selling everything, but I think collecting a lot of ammo and just resources as well to sell will be a good idea. Oh,
for sure. And I think, again, with overall ammo conservation in general, you actually get quite a bit of money for selling ammo in this iteration of RE4. So, we could potentially look at a situation where we've kind of discovered through the process of routing no merchant that there are ways to manipulate certain items to drop in the crates and off of certain enemies. So I'm genuinely curious, though, to see if we're going to see any of that tech sort of unfold as we get into probably closer to chapter 9, chapter 10 range, where, maybe we're trying to farm some stuff in the crates and barrels that might try to give us the edge. But, given the time constraints, maybe we don't see that. But it's definitely, these are some talented runners that we have here, and they're going to try to use every single thing up their sleeve in order to maximize the amount of money that they're getting to be able to win this challenge. So anything could happen. that's kind of
and I think everyone knows that they're up against really tight competition. Like, they need to do their best,
Absolutely.
You need to pick up everything you possibly can, because everyone's going to be doing the same thing. So
for sure. And if you guys have checked out the speedrun leaderboards lately, we actually have the top 3 professional runners in the chat or rather in this tournament. So Missing No and Shark both have kind of tossed record around back and forth for a while, with Joydern holding it for a period of time as well. So I think this could definitely be a situation where, these top 3 runners, and then of course you have Blanks coming from the Elden Ring scene, which is already a pretty competitive scene as well, and being able to have some success with RE4, it really could be the difference there with, who's practicing the most and able to really get the proper execution. And then on top of that too, with RE4, you also have a lot of RNG. So even with all of this skill coming into the competition, anything could happen,
Yeah.
And I think we've seen it time and time before where, sometimes skill doesn't necessarily determine who the winners are. And, with the waifu tournament that happened a couple of months ago, we saw Dist not even qualify in the second round. So, really anything could happen. And, here we are. We've got these top 3 runners here, in addition to 2 other incredibly talented runners that, as we get into some of these later parts of the run, even Village is pretty toxic in terms of the RNG. But
yeah.
I think the late game is really going to be pretty telling here when we start to see how these strats unfold.
Yeah, I'm already seeing a couple interesting strats. I think I don't remember who it was. It was either Missing No or Blanks. I think someone was already doing infinite grenade glitch in the Village.
Yeah, that's a good technique, because you may want to opt in to sell those grenades if you're trying to min-max the money situation. So we could definitely be seeing that.
I think Joydern's doing the same thing right now.
And it also
I'm not sure,
could
they might be going for that Salvador kill.
I was going to say, yeah, that Salvador kill is pretty important because of the money situation. Selling grenades is part of it, but also by selling grenades, you increase the chances of getting them off of random drops later too. So I think that in tandem with the Salvador drops, we could definitely be seeing a pretty tight situation with trying to kill these enemies that drop a little bit more. Oh, we actually get an emerald from him. For some reason, I thought it was...
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
I must have been thinking...
That's worth it.
Oh, for sure. And I was, I think I was maybe thinking of OG RE4. I think the rubies in OG RE4 are worth, I think it's like maybe 10,000. But for some reason, I was thinking that they also dropped rubies in this version of RE4 as well. But to be honest with you, I don't think I've killed that Salvador since my first playthrough, maybe.
I don't think I did it since the demo. Since the chainsaw demo,
For sure.
But Shark actually did do the blue medallions in the farm. I'm not sure if anyone else did, but I do think it's a good idea to collect some spinels. Like, they're going to need spinels, I think, for those extra treasures. You do get treasures, so if you haven't played RE4 before, some treasures you can insert gems into, and I think this is actually going to, come into play quite a bit throughout the run, is the different colors of gems that you put into treasures actually affects the value. Like, for example, if you're filling something with 5 different gem slots, it's the best. You get the most money by having 5 different colored gems into the, say, a crown or something. But if you had, 3 red and 2 green, it would be less. Every different combination is a different amount of money. So they want to make sure that they have the right type of colors of gems so they can insert it into their treasures and sell it for the highest possible value. But it might be hard to get all the colors that they want unless they've routed it out already.
Right, yeah, and the other thing that we were talking about too before we got the show going today is health is also something to consider, because the herb combos are worth quite a bit of money, so you're not going to necessarily want to waste the potential for potentially tens of thousands of pesetas by consuming the yellow herbs, because at the end of the day, you really could grab the body armor possibly in place of that if you have concerns.
Yes.
But then the other element of it is that, if you're selling those things, that's more money in your pocket that you can use to potentially win this competition for today.
Yeah.
But if you're taking damage, that's money that you're leaving on the table. So I do also wonder if we're possibly going to see a situation today where people get hit and then they reload the save because they don't want to potentially leave money on the table.
Yeah, I think the first aid spray sells for what, 5,000?
5K, yep.
Yeah, and then a yellow, green, red sells for 10K. So those are pretty valuable. I know, I don't know if they still do it in the current route, but there was a point where they just sold all their health. Did you come up with that, Haze? Was that your route? You sold all your health.
Yeah, that's actually partly where I got the nickname The Businessman from, was because I was in Distortion 2's chat, and he was like picking up all of this stuff, and it was probably bad etiquette for me to be like, yeah, I skipped that, and just like more or less backseating. But of course, I think we can all agree in the speedrun scene, like we all want to help each other get better times and learn new strats. And I knew that, like it is with every RE game, right? You really don't want to spend that much time in the menus and picking things up if you really don't have to. And that was a situation where I kind of knew off the rip that we really weren't going to want to pick up that much stuff and go out of our way for treasures and all that. So that's kind of where the whole businessman thing started, was that I was backseating in Dist's chat, and I was like, yeah, you don't need to pick up that thing, man. And he was just like, well, what do you pick up at this point? I was like, yeah, that actually might be the shorter list now, because it was probably about a 3 or 4 day window I had routed out. I want to say probably half of what everyone else was routing. I still didn't have a better time than anybody, but I think where a lot of the impact came into the routing was, it was just a lot of labbing, and that's honestly what I enjoy more than actually grinding for world record. I actually enjoy the routing more than that.
Well, you seem talented at that. Like, whenever I try routing, I can't find anything. And you seem to know your way around games. Oh no, did someone get red misted?
Situation
right at the end?
There from Blanks. Just unfortunately not able to get the red mist. Is gonna go back into the... It's a great maneuver there that he was able to get that save. But unfortunately, the red mist, it came and delivered on the blank situation
and deleted,
there. So if you guys were watching yesterday, the G Fuel play of the day actually came from this section, and
both of the clips were from this section. It's hilarious.
Absolutely, and I think it's fitting to talk about it here too, because it's the reason that we had these nominated for the play of the day yesterday, is because they both happen to come from some incredibly hot gameplay on behalf of Joydern and Shark. And this zoom in that we have here it just goes to show you just how toxic this run can be, and why those two clips made it into the play of the day, is because those things happen all the time, and the handling there by Joydern and Shark yesterday was absolutely incredible. So it's unfortunate that Blanks had to deal with this, but it happens, and that's just kind of the name of the game when it comes to RE4. Is there's not really much that you can do when it comes to just having to manage the overall flow of it. So
especially on pro, it's very unforgiving. You get grabbed, and then you get hit, and then you get grabbed, and then you get exploded, and that's just the way it goes. I feel like every speedrunner's not, like, when they die, they're not surprised, they're more disappointed, because it's like they knew this could happen. It's not like this never happens in their run. I'm pretty sure every professional runner deals with just deaths everywhere in the run. But yeah, I was kind of surprised when we were watching Blanks. I don't think he went for the small key in the little little hut. And I was thinking the small keys will probably be very important throughout the run too, because without them you can't get all the treasures.
Right, and I think that's another thing worth mentioning too, is with 3 hours on the clock, you're really going to want to think about what are the most worth it ones if you do run into time constraints later on in the run. Because I would think that if people aren't grabbing the mask from in there, that's going to put them at a disadvantage in the late game. But to be fair though, the 30 seconds or however much it costs to get that mask, that is something that if you do run into a time crunch in the late game, you can make a lot more money in the late game by detouring 30 seconds, because all those treasures are worth so much more once you get to the island, that if you are worried about time, it definitely would be the better call to save that time for the late game when you do get the higher value treasures. Like those golden bars are worth...
Yeah, you can only get the crowns in the late game.
Right.
The golden bars as well. Like, I think the crowns are going to be prioritized. They're pretty easy to get as well. And those sell, I think, they're the most expensive treasure if you put the right gems in it. If you put 5 different colored gems, you get like, what, 110k or something like that? So I think that's going to be significant.
There's a combination that you can do that actually gets you, I want to say it's like 103 or 108k or something with the crown.
Right.
But the thing you will want to consider with that is that you're not getting as large of a bonus. You're just getting a larger amount of money. So if you're thinking about the multiplicative values, which is, if you really think about it in the grand scheme of things, is probably the macro level, optimization of money. It may not necessarily be better to get like a one-time 108K when you could put those red barrels into something else in a different combination and get a bonus on that when you have all these different treasures to choose from. And I think what's also worth noting here too is that once we get into chapter 4, we're going to start to see it's kind of the minimalistic open world aspect of RE4 once we get to the lake.
Oh, the boating section. I know there's a lot of treasures you can go out of the way for that, but they are quite a bit out of the way. Like, they're not in the speed run or anything like that, but you can go boat around the lake. And there's all little, like, islands, or not islands, but just little offshore places where there's quite a few hidden treasures there. So I have a feeling some of the runners are going to take the detour and actually go get those extra treasures for the little money that they are for.
For sure. And I think that, in looking at that too, with that limited time set that we've talked about a couple of times at this point, but, it's worth reiterating because 3 hours on the clock, it can easily take you, especially if you run into some toxic things with like the dogs that show up if you decide to go up to the sacrificial altar and those areas. Like, you can easily lose like 15 minutes in the boating section because of how long it takes to go from point A to point B, and the fact that there's not a lot of typewriters. Like they're spread very thin in that chapter. So I want to say the only typewriter even remotely in that vicinity is the one at the merchant's dock. So
like the one before Gigante?
Gigante, yeah. And it's definitely a situation where you really want to make sure that if you're committing to going to those areas that A, you know what you're getting into, and B, it might not be a bad idea to make a safety save because, God forbid you die there, and if you lose 4, 5, 6 minutes at a time, it can really get costly, and then all of a sudden that late game time that maybe you were budgeting for isn't there at the end. So
yeah, I just saw Shark selling a bunch of his health, so it seems like they're gonna be selling all of the healths that they can, but he did keep one first aid spray for I guess just an emergency. So I'm interested to see if he'll have to use that or what his strategy will be, because I'm sure he wanted to sell it. He just doesn't want to die either, right? And I know you were saying earlier how maybe they should depend a bit more on the health, like eggs and stuff like that don't actually sell for a lot, but that will heal you anyway. Haze, do you have any idea how much like fish sell for? Would it be worth it to use the fish or sell the fish, do you think?
So this was something that was kind of rolling around in the back of my head a little earlier today, was that, we could definitely see people go fishing because the money that you get is decent. I want to say
Oh, it is decent, okay.
The regular bass, I want to say it sells for, it's like 1,000 or something like that, but I'd be curious to see if anybody is going to do some charm farming, because there's the charm that gives you more from selling heals. There's also the charm that gives you more. Well, there's actually a charm for, I want to say there's one that gives you more for selling the fish, the healing items, and the bass. I think you can get a bonus from everything. And then there's also like crafting ammo bonuses too. Pretty much everything that you can get from the charms has one way or another translation into getting more money. So I'm very curious to see if people are going to go get the charms and possibly use that as a way to get more money. And then also selling the charms that they don't need. Some of the like legendary charms and whatnot, they sell for more. I think you can get maybe 3,000 or so.
I didn't know you could sell charms.
Yeah, and so, with the bonuses and whatnot, yeah, you could definitely get some more money from like selling the charms and then getting the bonuses from selling the healing items. So we could definitely see people, it's not off the table, charm farming. I didn't explicitly state it in the rules, so maybe people won't necessarily consider doing it, but we could definitely see a situation where the charms come into play. I'd be curious to see if anybody's going to consider that as an option, but it looks like we have Shark coming up on this dog section here, trying to set up getting some of that money. We have
shot the crows and stuff and the treasure up top. I feel like it's gonna be easy for them to get all the treasures that are normally routed into the run, but it's the ones that, like, they only had 24 hours to prepare. I don't think they were able to memorize every single treasure in the game. It's how much can their brain handle and how much can they fit into the run. For the charms, though, that would be very risky, I think, if someone went for charms. I personally think the time that you'd be using to get charms would be better used elsewhere, like just getting more treasures that are out of the way, or spending time just, I don't know, finding more items to sell. I personally don't think going for the charms is optimal, but I am really curious to see if anyone does it. And also, chat, I hope you're doing good, by the way. I see you there. I am looking at chat. And by the way, chat, I have a little message, is that the prize pool, so see the little red bar at the bottom? For the prize pool, you can actually contribute to that to make it more higher stakes. And so the winners receive just more money. So if you want to donate, do !prize and check that out. All of the money raised goes straight to the top 3 runners, who are top 3 at the end of day 3. And yeah, we don't touch a cent of that. So if you want to incentivize the runners a bit more, make the prize pool bigger, feel free to donate to that.
Absolutely, and those will go all the way through the end of the tournament tomorrow, so make sure you guys take the opportunity, if you haven't done so, to check out the Matcherino page, and if you're feeling generous, we would greatly appreciate, and I know the runners would greatly appreciate, a contribution to the prize pool.
Yeah, I think the runners would really appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah, that's what this tournament's all about, and you know, yeah. I've been a proponent of really trying to bring the speedrun scene into the esports spotlight for the last several years, and I think that, you know, with every tournament we get that much closer. So and it's through your guys' support and of course our amazing sponsor over at G Fuel that we're able to make these things a reality. So thank you guys, for those of you that have contributed so far, those of you that will contribute, and again, thank you to G Fuel. We'll be doing a break here in about 10 minutes for our routine G Fuel sponsored segment, which I'll give Sneevil a break here in about 10 minutes so that we can cover that, and then we'll run some Twitch ads and whatnot. But we are, of course, still covering the action right here. We do have a couple of safety saves being made here.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot going on. Shark was dealing with a little kerfuffle at the door after grabbing the gas canister. We have Joydern. What is he coming up to right now? I think he's about to go and do, I like to call it like the swamp room. I don't really know what to call it.
I think it's the fish farm.
But it seems like everyone, yeah, the fish room. Everyone's kind of even right now. Like, no one's significantly farther ahead than the other. I think they're all about on the same chapter. So I'm guessing everyone's doing a similar routing so far, if they're all about even. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how it branches off a bit more later.
For sure, and I think, you know, again, with kind of streamlining the route, it's very possible that, you know, I made the joke yesterday that the IGN guide would be getting a lot of attention with everyone looking up the treasure locations and stuff like that.
Even I was, because I don't know all the treasures. I was like, I gotta be prepared for today. So I wrote down some stuff, but like, yeah, I think the runners had that open for 12 hours last night.
Yeah, and so I think, you know, we'll definitely see, especially in the early game, I think we're going to see a pretty streamlined route. You know, we've got Joydern picking up the antique pipe, which I don't remember exactly how much that one's worth. I want to say it's like 10 or 12K. I think it sells for
$8,000.
Oh, is it 8K?
Like
okay.
Yeah, or it's 7K.
7K, gotcha.
7K.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think
it's enough, but it's not that far out of the way. It's a little bit risky though, but if you're able to get out of there, like, I think it's totally worth it to go for the pipe.
Yeah, I think as long as we don't run into a situation where people are getting caught by the brutes, I think overall we shouldn't be in a bad situation. I didn't see if Shark was able to set up the 7-hit Lago, but it does not look like he got it. I'm looking at the health bar on the left side there. He did not get it, but you know, ultimately, if you practice this fight, it's really not bad. Actually, I'm going to zoom in on Shark real quick, just so that way we can get a little bit of a preview here for you guys on the fight as we get into it. Let's see if I can...
I'm sure he knows how to do the one cycle. It seems like he's practiced. He has all his shots down. But if you do miss the one cycle, that's minutes down the drain. Like, not just seconds. You're going to be just shooting harpoons for like 5 minutes. It's so annoying.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Del Lago has 3 phases. You missed the first one. I think he regenerates like the majority of his health.
Yeah,
you're pretty much starting from the beginning again, but he has a terrible pattern. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
it seems like he missed one.
He's got him down to 60, so he should be okay.
Okay, he's good.
He seems confident enough to change the frame rate.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, it's definitely one of those situations where, you know, when it happens, you can still get the 2 cycle, and his health regenerates almost exactly to the point where if you don't miss a harpoon throw, you can still get the 2 cycle, but it's very, very tight, and you definitely don't want to be in that situation as you start to come up on those things. So great job there by Shark, though, for handling that. And, you know, just like
Joy-Turn right now, is he going for the... What is he shooting? Sorry, I'm very curious.
So he is actually shooting a barrel off in the distance that gives you 1,000 pesetas for destroying it. And actually, the whole situation there with the money is that in the Del Lago fight, you can actually throw your harpoon at those barrels that are floating in the water and get extra money. Whereas the ones in Chapter 4 only give you 100 pesetas. These ones all give you 1,000. Wow,
I had no idea you could shoot barrels in the water.
Yeah, it's actually one of the ways that I was kind of memeing when this route was first being developed for like the money routing in any percent pro. Was I was like going for the money shots in this fight to try to get like 2,000 extra cash.
I did see a message in chat. Someone said Missing No is down. Let's check on Missing No.
Yeah, let me check and see. Oh, it looks like we're actually running into a pretty dangerous situation here for Missing No. In the fish farm, going into critical health there.
Going for that pipe.
Yeah, he's going for the antique pipe, and he went into critical, and I wasn't sure initially if he was maybe trying to set up like a 7-hit Lago here, but yeah, unfortunately, it looked like maybe he had experienced a death here because everyone else is moving into Chapter 4. And unfortunately, we have Missing here. We talked about this a little bit earlier, actually, that if you're in Shark's position right now, you're kind of hoping that Missing is not going to have a super clean run because of that spread being about 486 points apart from yesterday's findings with everything on Bingo. That this is a good situation for you if you're in Shark's position, because Shark is kind of right there at the head of the pack. I think Blanks might be a little further ahead on the speedrun side of things, but yeah, we definitely have Missing in a bit of an unfortunate situation here, falling into...
It seems like Missing is trying to do a lot in this section, though. Grab the pipe. I think they're going for Small Key Viper. They grab the other treasure chest. Like, it seems like they're trying to maximize it. But also, by trying to do everything in this room, there's a lot of enemies, so a lot of danger.
For sure, and like with the Brute being close by, and this is definitely one of those rooms that if you're not doing the optimal speedrun pathing, it can get pretty toxic relatively quickly. And so I think we're seeing some maneuvers here. That's what we call the Giga jump. And so, you know, that jump does help you close the distance a little bit by getting you 2 ledges down instead of just 1, and then potentially getting hit on the way down the second drop. But ultimately, pretty good maneuverability there from Missing, getting out of there, and is going to move on to Del Lago here in these next few moments. We have Joy-Turn actually in the Del Lago fight as we speak. And
so is Fraggle. Look at that.
Yep, Fraggle in there as well.
Neck and neck.
Blanks
I think
Chapter
Fraggle,
4.
is he second phase right now? He just ran into like a tree branch.
Yeah, it does look like Fraggle was not able to get the 1 cycle. Let's zoom in on that real quick because I actually want to see.
Oh no.
Yeah, this is unfortunate here. This is not something you typically want to see when you are running into a Del Lago situation. We talked about this just a couple of minutes ago, that not getting that 1 cycle can really throw off the pacing, and unfortunately for Fraggle, that's possibly going to mean getting moved back to the back of the pack there, because, you know, with Missing initially being behind.
Saved.
Yeah.
Like after that swamp area, and also if you look at his boat health, he's only 1 hit away from actually dying and having to go all the way back. So I'm really praying for Fraggle to be able to hold this out and not take any more damage, because this fight is very ruthless. You may miss the first cycle. Come on, Fraggle! Oh no!
Oh no, and I think that is well, no, he actually does have Lago at 1 HP, so there's unfortunately not able to bring it in.
Can we get some Fs in the chat for...
We need just spam those Fs in the chat. Oh my,
I'm gonna put an F in the chat.
That is just That is not what you want to see when you run into that situation. But
I will say
alas,
one positive thing is that I've never seen that animation, so that was a little cool for me. But it's not good for Fraggle. It's not
most
good.
Definitely not.
So yeah, I was right where Friggle did not save after the swamp area. I didn't think anyone would, because normally Del Lago's not a problem, right? But I think maybe Friggle was too used to the DA0 Del Lago, where you only have to shoot him like 7 times, and maybe didn't practice the 15 one where you actually have to hit him every time. So maybe he had a little bit of trouble, didn't remember how to line up his shots, and unfortunately that means a lot of time lost.
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate circumstance there for Fraggle. And again, you know, with this competition going into day 2, the stakes are increasing. So, you know, if you're in Fraggle's situation, he was in 2nd place at the end of the day yesterday. So, you know, if you're in his shoes, you really don't want to be in a situation where you're falling into the back of the pack, because you know, ultimately you're really just trying to maintain, if anything. And you know, having a death like that and really just getting pushed back, you know, in this case, probably about 3 or 4 minutes, and plus the time lost with the Del Lago fight itself, you know, just to be honest. Yeah, definitely a rough spot to be in if you're Fraggle, and just trying to stay in the game at this point is definitely not looking good there. But I think, you know, it's early enough in the run, anything could happen. We're definitely in a situation where he could recover, but you know, you really want to be careful about that going forward. And I think maybe he's going to try to set up a DA0 here once again, and hopefully be able to recover from this. But yeah, ultimately not looking good.
I do wonder if Fraggle will go back and save before Del Lago, or if he does feel confident enough to do Del Lago without the save, because I'm sure he's sick of this room right now. I don't think he wants to come back here.
Yeah, and speaking of save, I think it's time for you to go hit the typewriter and take a break real quick. So if you guys will excuse Sneevil, she's gonna go save her progress real quick. And I'm going to hit you guys up with some G Fuel. So, again, I want to give a huge shout out to our friends over at G Fuel for sponsoring the entire tournament here. Guys, I could not be more thrilled to be working with G Fuel. They've done a ton of wonders for the stream, and everything that you guys are seeing today and the culmination of this tournament is really the direct efforts of G Fuel's very generous contribution into helping with my contribution to the prize pool and helping with our staff budget. So huge shout outs to G Fuel. And again, guys, if you haven't had a chance, please head on over to gfuel.com. There might just be a couple minutes left on that BOGO sale. If you guys want to try to take advantage of the summer BOGO Christmas in July sale, there might be a few minutes left on that. Once that's over, though, guys, you can use code HAZE at checkout for up to 30% off. I have a ton of flavors here. I rebuilt my shrine up here on my desk since I realized it was a little difficult to see it yesterday. So I'm just going to go over a couple of flavors with you guys and just tell you guys a little bit about what my thoughts were when I tried out these flavors, and if it happens to match your guys' flavor preferences, you guys can head on over to the website and check it out for yourselves. So here we have the entire collection of tubs that I have, minus a couple that I leave upstairs for my fiance whenever she wants to make something. But in this particular case, yesterday we were drinking the Crimson Tears, which is the exclusive Elden Ring flavor, which I made the joke yesterday that it tastes like the tears of your enemies, which it does. It's actually a prickly pear flavor, so if you like the fruity variety, this is definitely a great option. It has a little bit of a tartness from the prickly side of it, but this one was a bit of an acquired taste for me. My first time trying it, I thought it was a really good flavor with a lot of really vibrant notes. But the more I drank it, I just really kind of took to the pear flavor there. And I like pear personally. But this one has gotten better the more I've drank it, and I really love this one. And it also goes without saying that a lot of these G Fuel tubs have absolutely incredible artwork on them that even once you're finished with the tub, they make for great display pieces. And I'll actually be here pretty soon taking one of these glass shelves here that I have in my stream room and turning it into a sort of G Fuel display piece at some point. Right now we've got my degree in game design sitting on there, some game controllers and whatnot, but we'll be overhauling that relatively soon and getting some more G Fuel stuff on there. But again, thank you guys so much. Thank you, G Fuel, for sponsoring today's stream. Don't forget, guys, head on over to gfuel.com, use code code Haze for up to 30% off, or take advantage of that summer BOGO if you haven't done so already. And I'm going to run some Twitch ads for the next 90 seconds, guys, but when we come back, it'll be me and Sneevil. We'll be zooming in on the action. I think we're going to have some Gigante fights coming up here relatively soon. I know a couple of runners just finished theirs, but we got a lot of action. Don't go anywhere, guys, and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back, everybody. You're watching the Hazeblade Invitational powered by G Fuel, and we're going right back into the action here. I am joined by my incredibly talented co-host Sneevil. Sneevil, what are your thoughts on everything that we've seen so far here?
I was watching behind the scenes a little bit, just like the last minute of my break, and Shark had an interesting strategy where he didn't buy the scope for Gigante and just did it without the scope. I mean, it's totally possible. The scope, all it does is enhance your accuracy. So if you already have good accuracy, you technically don't need it. But it does make the fight significantly harder, especially if that's what you're used to is the scope. But Shark didn't seem to have too hard of a time. Already in the church. Almost done chapter, what is this, chapter 3? Or chapter 4?
Yeah, I think we're coming up here. So we've got a couple of people. Actually, I think it may just be Fraggle now who fell a little bit behind there in chapter 4. And, well, I guess technically until you save Ashley, you're still in chapter 4. So
yeah.
We do have Blanks, it seems, who is proceeding towards the cabin. And
Yes.
And then we do have some shopping around happening here in the chapter 4 open world-esque section. So, you know, again, this is kind of what we talked about, where, you know, you're kind of giving up some of that precious time to go get some of the money, and you are also assuming some added risk. But you know, if you're in a situation where you're really focused on trying to be in first place with the most money at the end, it's going to be really imperative to make sure that really every dollar counts. So
yeah, I saw Missing No going out of the way on the boat to get a lot of the extra treasures, which is a little bit risky, but I think it's smart in the end because there are some like gems that you can use to put in treasures there. I think there's some like red gems, and I think there might be a purple gem or one or two Alexandrites around the lake. But yeah, I think it's smart to go for as many treasures as you can. But as you did say before, there's a lot of really expensive treasures in the late game that you want to make sure you have time to go pick up. So hopefully Missing No has enough time to grab everything in the later game, because I know they did have a little bit of a hiccup near the beginning of the run. So
for sure. And sorry, I think for some reason me hitting the Alt key was freezing your preview.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering.
Sorry about that. No, it's also my hotkey for muting myself. I was
oh, okay.
Had to mute for a quick second there, but yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right about that. And if we look at kind of where the pacing is right now, so we're just shy of 40 minutes into the run. And, you know, I'd say, honestly, everybody, including Fraggle, who's had a bit of a rough kind of village section here, I'd say everybody is still keeping a pace pretty well. That I don't have any major concerns about whether anyone's going to be able to finish the run or not until we maybe get into some sections in the late game where some of those late game route deviations could potentially lead to possibly taking more damage, having to use more health, possible death scenarios, and I think, honestly, what I'm most curious to see is if people are going to maybe forego the Chapter 14 skip in lieu of trying to get some of that treasure in the factory section of Chapter 14.
Right, it's Chapter 14. Which skip is that one? Is that the one where you skip the crane with Ashley?
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of treasure in there.
That's a big section that you skip.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's a huge section.
And I want to say there's like maybe with the combinations of stuff that you can put in there, you're probably leaving close to 100K on the table if you skip that. So I think it's definitely going to come down to whether or not people are willing to, you know, with that limited amount of time, are people willing to put up with navigating that section with the limited set of resources and potentially get through that. I'm going to zoom in on Blanks here because we actually have Blanks going into the cabin section here.
Maybe do Blanks and Shark at the same time. I think Shark's about to go into the cabin as well.
Oh, okay.
Blanks
yeah, we can
is kind
definitely...
of in a predicament right now, though.
I was gonna say, yeah, we have Blanks and Shark both in the cabin section here, and unfortunately, Blanks going into critical not once but twice, and just struggling to keep the enemies at bay. But we don't have a bingo challenge this time to avoid boarding up the window. So, you know, we do at least have that at our disposal. But yeah, that's unfortunate for Blanks because, again, as we mentioned earlier, it's very important to not have to use too many healing items because that directly affects how much money you're going to have at the end of this thing. So, you know, we really want to make sure that if we're in this situation and taking a lot of damage that, you know, it's not off the table to reload a save and possibly try to save some of that back, but then you also have to manage whether or not it's worth losing that time and potentially leaving that bonus on the table at the end of the run if you don't finish in the first 4. So we do have Blanks starting to do some pause buffer strats here, and in the hopes of being able to finish this thing out strong. And perfect parry
Very nice
there.
Parry.
What an insane parry there, you know, kind of off the cuff, coming back from that double critical. But just look at all of these plagas. Just not a comfortable situation if you are Blanks right now, and just constantly not able to get out of this, but still able to just skin of his teeth survive in that moment. What a crazy save there. We still have the Brute to deal with, though. Is Blanks going to be able to recover with he does have a Ganado on his right there. He's going to have to be incredibly careful.
Oh my
God. Unfortunately does not make it and
worst.
takes the death. That is not a good situation to be in. Oh my goodness.
He almost played it perfectly. He dodged the Kanado, just wasn't able to hit that F key or whatever key has bound to the crouch in time.
And you know what? I was really sniffing out a play of the day there, because if we would have clutched up in that moment, that definitely, I know my mods, which by the way, guys, the G Fuel play of the day, my mods are on the hunt for the 2 best clips of the most clutch moments of today's stream with everything that we have going on. And I know my mods were sniffing out a G Fuel play of the day on that one, because that was definitely a situation where, you know, if Blanks could have clutched up there, that would have been a really, really strong recovery for what was otherwise a really nasty cabin. But Shark is able to make it through, and it seems like, honestly, everything with Shark there really went off without a hitch. And, you know, he was able to get in there and get the job done really without too many issues. So, and he is going to go ahead and start making a deal with the merchant. It's time to do some business. You know, that's the name of the game. We want to drum up as much business as possible with the merchant in efforts to try to maximize those gains. So Blanks taking another stab at the cabin, and we're just hoping that we'll be able to get into that situation one more time and hopefully be able to make a recovery there.
Yeah, let's go back out. I was just about to say, let's check on the other runners. So Joydern is, I think this is the farm area. So coming up on the cabin as well, we have Missing No. Coming up on Gigante. I'm kind of curious what strategy Missing No is going to use here. So it seems like Missing No bought the scope. And I was surprised Shark didn't buy the scope, but thinking of it, it's actually a really good idea if you can save a couple thousand on that. Because, of course, it doesn't sell back for as much as you bought it for. But I don't know if it would really make a big difference because I think it only sells for like 20% less. And then you have a better chance of doing Gigante first try if you're doing it with the scope the way that you're used to. But it seems like Shark did a good job without the scope. Missing Note chose to use the scope, which I don't think will make a huge difference in the money situation near the end. But everyone seems to be doing relatively well. Some people are a little bit farther ahead, but not by much. I think near the later parts of the run, it might even out a bit more in terms of like who's in first and second or farthest in the run.
For sure, and I think we do have Shark ahead of the pack as of now. Blanks and Joydern both working their way through the cabin. Missing quite a bit behind here. I actually wanted to check in very quickly here on Fraggle too, because we also had a rather unfortunate situation there with Fraggle earlier where, that death there on Del Lago set him back not just the fight, but also had to do the fish farm before that too. So we have Fraggle and Missing both kind of just, kind of falling behind a little bit. But, again, this challenge isn't so much about speed as it is about the money. So, you do still want to finish as quickly as you can to get that bonus. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really more important that you finish the run. And I think with the pacing that we're seeing here, overall, things are looking pretty good for all of the runners. But Fraggle definitely in rough shape here with that death, setting him back almost half a chapter, which, in the early game, that kind of puts you in a situation where you have a lot of ground to make up and really not a lot of time to do that.
Yeah, and Fraggle is just in a really dangerous situation right there where he could have died. He doesn't have enough health. He only has enough health right now to take one more hit, and he had to go actually all the way around to get back to the bridge instead of going through that gated door because it was just too dangerous. But seemed to be able to pull it off. I'm glad Fraggle didn't die because that would have really, really set him back a lot more. But yeah, he's pretty much done with the boating section now, hopefully, and we'll be able to move on to I think it's Gigante next? Or what's next? I'm getting confused.
Yeah, once they come out of the section here, Fraggle and Missing are, Missing I believe is already done with Gigante now, but Fraggle, Fraggle's heading back to Gigante now. He just got the church key, so we'll definitely be seeing him go into the Gigante here, and as long as that fight goes pretty clean, we should be pretty smooth sailing there until Cabin.
Yeah.
We have Joydern coming out into Chapter 6. It looks like Blanks is already a little ways in, making his way to the Bella Sisters. I wanted to go back to Shark real quick, though, and see, because it looks like we actually just missed Shark going into the Chainsaw Sisters, but that clearly must have went smoothly because we are cruising right along into the chase sequence here, which means that Shark is just a few seconds away here from reaching Chapter 7, which brings us into the second section of the game, which is the castle.
Yeah, and I just want to mention, I see a question in chat saying, can someone explain all the pausing before headshots? So all it is they're pausing to make sure that their cursor, their little dot in the middle is actually over their head. And they kind of pause buffer it so it doesn't, so basically when the game is paused, the timer isn't running in game. So they're able to just make sure their shots hit, because sometimes if you miss shots, you might not have enough ammo for the rest of the run. So it's basically them just making sure their shots hit. And it kind of is more of a guarantee because you're able to see before you shoot. But yeah, chat, if you have any questions or anything, like, I'm keeping an eye on chat. I'll answer some questions if I have time. But yeah, feel free to ask some questions if you have anything you want to know.
I've been wanting to zoom in on one of these Bella Sisters kill, and I think it lined up perfectly with that question too, because we were talking about the pause buffer and all that good stuff. And so we're kind of seeing this all culminate here. Absolutely clean Bella Sisters there by Blanks, getting phenomenal RNG. With the Bella Sisters there, you actually can have a few different things happen. Two of the three combinations that you can get are still pretty easily salvageable, but the third RNG combination is very highly likely to result in either a death, or if you're grinding for world record, usually a reset. Getting through there with pretty much no issues, though. throwing the flash grenade just to protect himself a little bit while he's opening the door. Overall, very clean execution. The thing we're looking for here, though, is does Ashley get grabbed on the way to the door for the Mendez chase? But it doesn't look like she does. So that's actually a really clean section there by Blanks.
That was really good.
Well done.
And saved a flash grenade as well, or some ammo.
And it looks like we have Shark,
Shark
going into the Mendez fight. And I think we're probably seeing this because...
Interesting.
Well, I think he... let's see, has he already killed Mendez, or is he still working on it? He's already got him.
The eyeball.
Yep, so...
from Mendez, so I guess he wants the treasure from
I
Mendez,
believe that
and then he wants all the extra
12K,
items in there as well. But seem to know what they're doing, because in and out of there very fast, so...
Yep, we're looking at Joydern going for the infinite nade setup there going into Bella Sisters.
Yeah.
Missing No about to start the cabin. Meanwhile, Blanks is not too far behind Shark, actually. It looked initially like there was a bit more of a spread, but I think what we're going to see here is whether or not Blanks is going to go for the Mendez kill.
Yes,
I know he was
I'm very
labbing
curious.
that. I saw he was labbing that yesterday.
Yeah, I honestly, it kind of flew over my mind. I was like, okay, they're probably going to skip Mendez because just more time to grab treasures elsewhere. But also, I'm not sure how much the eye sells for. Do you know?
I want to say it's 12K.
So that's significant, I'd say.
For sure, especially when you consider the fact that, oh no, that's so unfortunate. Blanks got grabbed by Mendez.
Well,
he was just a little wide.
Of the fight.
Yeah, for sure. That line that he took was just a little wide. You want to take a perfectly straight line and just kind of run straight into Mendez, and then when he does that little swipe, you just he kind of just like moves forward and pushes you behind him, so that way you don't end up having to deal with that. But yeah, definitely unfortunate there for Blanks. He's going to lose a little time, and he's just trying to stay afloat here. But he does manage to get the stagger there, so he should be okay now. Shark, it looks like, had to reload a save for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why that happened. I missed what happened there, but that is going to be... I think I saw him go back to the main menu, so that is going to be a penalty that he's going to incur if that happens.
Oh, no.
It's usually not a big deal when that happens. We basically just take the difference in the IGT, and we revert it. Oh, I think his game crashed, actually. So that wouldn't be a penalty if that happens. So we'll have to go back and retime that at the end of it. But no, that should be fine. At the end of the day, it goes based off of IGT. So initially I thought he had died and reload the save or something, but then I saw his timer there when it goes up to like 8 hours like that. That's usually an indication of a game crash. So if that's the case, we can definitely retime that. That's not a big deal there.
How often, because I haven't ran this game since, like, I tried to learn it at the beginning, and then life got in the way, and I never was able to, like, fully learn the speedrun, but, what was my question? I was going into this with a question. Oh, yeah, how often does this game end up crashing?
A lot.
Often? It does? Oh, no! Maybe it has to do with the down-patched version, crashing more. Because the runners are running on a down patch version, so you can do the door skips. There's quite a few like out of bounds that you can do too, and they got patched, so we run on the original version that came out. But yeah, that's unfortunate that it crashes all the time. That must be terrible when you're grinding for a run.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a situation where it can make the run a little frustrating at times. I do think that it has a lot to do with drivers, because I know when Diablo 4 came out, that driver that they released sort of like to prep to like get Diablo 4 like NVIDIA driver ready, RE4 was completely unplayable on that driver depending on what graphics card you had. And I actually remember I was doing a sponsored stream, and unfortunately my game kept crashing like every 30 seconds, and I had to roll back my driver to get it to work again. But yeah, a lot of driver issues with this game, unfortunately. And so it's one of those situations where it can be a deterrent sometimes, but it also it's like a hardware thing. So some people don't really have to deal with it because they have hardware. And in fact, there are some people that have literally never had a crash. So
wow, those lucky ducks.
Yeah, definitely a situation where if you're not crashing at all, you probably have a lot more patience with this game for sure.
Yeah. And someone in chat asks, are door skips allowed in these runs? And the answer is yes. So basically the rules are pretty much the same as the new game professional run on the speedrun leaderboards. If you look at the rules, it's pretty much the same. So they're allowed to do the glitches they would be normally allowed to do in a new game professional run. There's a couple, I think. What is not allowed, Haze?
Not much, honestly.
Not much, yeah. Pretty much just do whatever you can to be as fast as you can.
Basically, all there is to it is that you really can't just back out to the menu and load saves, but aside from that, pretty much everything else is fair game.
Yep. All right, Shark going into an Oh, Shark is going for the Gyarados, it seems. Or maybe not. Honestly, I think Shark's gonna get Ashley to open this door. There's a couple treasures in there, and then probably we'll do the door skip. I'm not sure if they're going to be going all the way downstairs to kill the Gyarados, but I'm very interested to see what they do here, because they're definitely making Ashley open the door. There's a treasure. There's a couple things in here that are worth quite a bit. There's something behind the wall, and then there's also a treasure chest the other way down to the right. So there's something up here he can shoot. And
Yep,
I think it's a really good idea to come in here for the extra couple treasures.
Chat, we did hydrate. Don't worry about it. You can't see us, okay? We're hydrating.
Yeah, everybody should hydrate. Chat, I command you, hydrate now. You see that water that's sitting there and it's getting stale? Well, you should drink it because it makes you feel good.
Listen, we are hydrating. Okay, you know what I'm hydrating with? Some G Fuel. All right, we're hydrating with that G Fuel. Speaking of which, we do have a break coming up for G Fuel here in just a few minutes, guys. But in the meantime, we're catching all of this action here. We have Blanks just wrapping up the catapult section there. It does look like Shark did still end up going for the skip. And I think, as you mentioned earlier, you know, there's some treasures kind of in the immediate vicinity there. And if you go for the Gyarados section, there are a few treasures that you can go up and around the chandelier and then unlock that door to go around and get, but that's like several minutes of just running around that I don't know that most people are really going to want to consider that as a viable option when there's so many more valuable treasures later that don't cut into that time. And if, again,
it looks like Shark's going around the upper part of the hall and grabbing some of the treasures. I honestly think it's a pretty good idea. Probably doing it before Waterhall so they could just save and then go do Waterhall.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. You know, again, this drop here, like we were just talking about, this treasure, you can drop down and grab that, and it's worth a decent amount. But again, as I mentioned earlier, I don't know that it's quite the most valuable decision and use of time. But I mean, we will have to see. It does look like Blanks is going for it as well. So.
Well, honestly, the treasure that's through the crack in the wall, that's a ruby and elegant perfume bottle. Or sorry, it's an elegant perfume bottle, and that's worth 10K, so that's pretty significant.
Absolutely, and I want to bounce back over to Fraggle and see how things are going as well. I know I don't want to miss Waterhall because we actually have 3 runners that are very near the approach on Waterhall. But that was actually a really good decision there to use the door clip, though, instead of going around to Gyarados. Initially, I was thinking that, you know, that would be the kind of the deal breaker, was going, you know, the Gyarados route, but that was a pretty smart play to use the door clip, because then you don't have to worry about, you know, going through those other sections and having to go down and around and use the key and all that. Definitely a good decision there.
Yeah, I agree. And we have, quite a few runners coming up on Waterhall. I'm trying to recognize where Missing No is.
It looks like Missing is about to enter the chase sequence at the end of the village.
Yes, that's where it was. Okay. So still a little bit behind, but Missing No, I believe, is the world record holder for new game professional. So Missing No has the skill to catch up. Like, every single runner here has the skill. It's just, does the RNG line up for you? Do you get the luck that you need, and are you able to pull off all the strats? So really interested to see how Missing No comes in the timed rankings.
Oh, for sure. And I think, you know, again, even with these setbacks, you know, we're also considering that, you know, the bonus is it's important, but it's not so important that you want to lose sight of what you're here to do, which is to get as much money as possible. So even if you do happen to take a death or two, it's not the end of the world. The most important thing is if you're in Missing's position, who, you know, if you remember from yesterday, he was in first place at the conclusion of bingo, so you're not really looking to do any bold moves here. The whole point of Missing's position is just maintaining. So the best way for him to do that is to finish the run, to try to at least be in the top 4 and get a small bonus, and at least to try to be in the upper part of the ladder there in terms of finishing with the most money. It's not necessarily about trying to get first place all the way down the ticket, but definitely maintaining and making sure that you keep that pace going as you get into the later parts of the run, where things get a lot more toxic.
Like, I think Missing is going bigger going home, because they're going for the Mendez kill, which is really out of the way, waste a couple of minutes that they may need later. Also, I saw Blanks actually went the long way and killed the Novistador. Has quite a bit more to do now, though. Has to do this puzzle, has to backtrack back to the water room now. So I'm wondering if that time lost was worth it to go grab that gem off of the Garrador downstairs.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it could definitely be worth it. And again, you know, with the main priority here being about finishing the run and having the most money for Blanks, you know, if Blanks is really in it to win it here, I think being, you know, if he really wants that 50% cut, which by the way, for those of you that haven't had a chance to do so, definitely check out the Matcherino page. You can type !prize in chat, which will give you a link to contribute to the prize pool if you're interested. And myself and Sneevil, we don't take a cut of that at all. That goes directly to the runners, and the first place winner will get a 50% split on that. Second place will take home 30%, and third place is going to get 20% of the dollar amount that you guys see at the bottom of your screen, which is currently at $1,270. So you guys can make an impact and bolstering that prize pool. All you have to do is just head on over to the Matcherino page, and you can contribute right on that page, and it'll show up right here in the stream here. But yeah, we do have some runners here coming up on the tail end of Waterhall, and it looks like Blanks is making his way there as well. While Shark and Joydern both are going through that kind of final section there. Shark making it through, hoping that Ashley doesn't get grabbed. That's kind of one of those like last minute things that can really throw off a run in this Waterhall section. All in all, things kind of seem to have went off really without much of a hitch here.
Yeah, I feel like runners, especially on Pro, or honestly any difficulty in this game, they know Waterhall is really hard. So I feel like every runner has practiced this room so many times. And since there's not really I don't think there's very many treasures or anything in here, so you're basically doing it the way you would in the speed run. I don't think runners will have too much trouble with this, besides if they get really bad luck. But let's hope none of the runners get bad luck and they're able to just get out of the Waterhall, because it is quite a long room. Like, you don't want to have to redo this room. It takes a long time. So hopefully everyone's able to get out clean and move on to the next section without any worries.
All right, and with that, I think it is time for Sneevil to go ahead and take her break, and I am going to entertain you guys here a little bit with our sponsored segment on G Fuel. Guys, if you don't know already, you guys can head on over to gfuel.com, and don't forget to use code HAZE at checkout for up to 30% off. G Fuel has a ton of amazing flavors, you guys, and you guys can check them out, and I'll show you guys and talk you guys through a couple of my favorites. And if you guys are interested, you can definitely head on over there and check out some of those flavors for yourself. So I'm gonna walk you guys over here real quick. Gonna head on over to our G Fuel shrine. And last break, we talked a little bit about Crimson Tears. Showed off this Sage mode, which if you guys like Naruto, this one is inspired by the Naruto franchise. They actually just came out with a new one recently, which I haven't tried yet. I'm gonna mispronounce this probably. It's Rasengan, I think.
Rasengan!
Oh yeah. Hey, you're supposed to be on break.
Sorry. I had to do it, Hayes. I heard Naruto. I'm like, this is my moment.
But yeah, so they just recently came out with that one a couple of months ago, so you guys are welcome to check that one out. This one is, I believe there are peach notes in this one, which I really enjoyed when I was trying this one out. I also recommend, if you have a simpler palate, to try out the Blue Ice. This one, while we're talking about new flavors, so the Rasengan is the new one. This one's the Sage mode if you want the peach. But this one here, Blue Ice, this is a remastered flavor, which means that it was a flavor before, but then they updated the formula for it and gave it a little bit more vibrant flavor. But this one definitely accommodates the more simpler palate. So if you're looking for just more of a simple raspberry, or in this case, blue raspberry flavor without all of the complexities and the different layers, this is a great flavor for that. And while it, I definitely personally, I prefer the more complex flavors. I know that not everybody does. And so if that is you, definitely check out the Blue Ice. They do have a lot of other more simpler flavors as well. They do have things like watermelon, and they have like a straight up lemonade option as well. So definitely accommodating a wide variety of flavor palettes, but they have dozens and dozens of different flavors, guys. So make sure you guys head on over there, check it out. Again, code Haze at checkout. And if caffeine isn't necessarily your thing, we also do have the hydration line as well. This particular one is the Shiny Splash, which is a blueberry lemonade. This also happens to be the first hydration line flavor that I tried out, and kind of is one of the contributors into me falling in love with G Fuel as a brand, just because of how vibrant this flavor is and the fact that there's no caffeine in it. So I don't have to limit my intake as much, all things considered, because the ones that do have the caffeine in it is about 2 cups of coffee. So depending on what your coffee intake, if you do drink coffee or whatever caffeinated beverages you may normally drink, just keep that in mind when you do drink the energy formula. That is kind of about what you get is 2 cups of coffee's worth. So if you normally drink 2 cups of coffee, then one of these will get the job done, and you'll be well on your way to all of that energy and focus that you need to be able to maintain your edge in gaming or your workday, whatever that might happen to be. But that's it for me on the sponsored segment here. We'll be back in another 30 minutes for another sponsored bit. I'm going to run another 90 seconds of Twitch ads while we round out the rest of this break, while you guys get an opportunity to check out some of these runs, and we'll be right back. See you then.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Hazeblade Invitational, day 2. Oh, we're doing one of these now, eh, Haze? I'm ready. Hello. Yeah. I was just noticing when we were gone, Fraggle was having some trouble with the chainsaw, ladies. Was able to pull it out in the end, though, but had to do a couple different attempts. I think runners are struggling with things they didn't think they would struggle with today, and it's really thrown them for a loop, so...
Yeah, we're getting into the meat and potatoes of this run, guys. So this is where a lot of this volatility, I mean, Village is already toxic enough, but, we're getting into the meat and potatoes. We're in the castle. Yep. A lot of things start to go wrong as we get into chapter 9 and 10. So, this is going to be where, once we come out of this this little banter session we have here, we're really going to start inspecting some of these runs and start to really nail down some of these discrepancies, because I think from here on out, we're going to start to see quite a few things go differently across these runs.
Yeah.
And I know the mods are definitely on the hunt for those G Fuel plays of the day. So we'll definitely stay tuned on that. And I know we've already seen quite a few clips enter the staff chat in the Discord, so I'm excited to peek through those as we get to the end of the runs today, and ultimately figure out who our winner for the G Fuel play of the day is going to be. Shark, if you guys remember from yesterday, was our winner with that super clutch barrel explosion chain dynamite save that prevented him from getting killed in the canyon yesterday. That was absolutely insane.
You explained that pretty well.
Yeah, it was was just breathtaking almost, because we actually had our play of the day yesterday in the exact same spot because of just how toxic it was, and we just happened to have gotten 2 incredible plays by both Joydern and Shark yesterday. But I know you guys are eager to get right back into the run, so we're gonna get you guys back over there, and we're gonna start seeing if we might be able to find one of those plays of the day while we're at it. So it does look like we have everybody in the castle now. Missing working on the water hall. We have Joydern in the maze. It looks like Shark just now wrapping up chapter, I think this is chapter 9. And Fraggle seeming to be in the midst of chapter 7 towards the beginning. So a lot of action coming up here. We've got Fraggle working on the catapults. That should be pretty interesting. We've got the maze happening, and well, really almost 2 mazes happening. And yeah, I think we're going to really start to see a lot of these things unfold here relatively soon. But I also think that we're starting to see the spread that we had earlier consolidate a little bit, as we've had it looks like maybe a couple of hiccups there on Shark's part, to where now Joydern has actually seemingly caught up with him and actually has taken the lead.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Fraggle's doing pretty good, though, for all the setbacks. I do still think Fraggle has more than enough time to finish off the run. Might not be able to do everything they planned on doing in the beginning, but I think Fraggle still has a good shot to finish in the top percentage today. And I'm really, really excited, honestly, for the next chapter where we have Verdugo, because I did see some runners practicing earlier today. And normally for Verdugo, you use you buy a rocket launcher, but the rocket launchers are very expensive on Pro. And of course, the challenge is to have the most money at the end of the run. So I saw some people using like grenades to kill Verdugo and stuff, and that means you wouldn't have the rocket launcher later, I think, for the double Gigante. So I'm really looking forward to the next couple chapters. I think the strategy is really going to change a lot, and really excited for the boss fights in particular.
Same here. I think, you know, the screens themselves are a little small, so we might need to just go one by one here and start to see who's got the most money right now. I want to actually get just a quick snapshot here of like who's gaming right now on some cash. So let's start by taking a peek at Fragglehausen here, who it looks like he's sitting on a little over 20K right now, or is this? Yeah, it looks like about 22K or so.
Yep.
And, you know, again, a lot of that money is probably tied up between things like the rifle and just upgrading weapons and whatnot, just for the purposes of just trying to hold on to as much as you can. And since you get, I believe it's 95% of your upgrade value back when you go to sell.
So that's not bad.
Yeah, really not bad at all.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad at all. And so, you know, it could be that a lot of his money is tied up in the weapons. And so, of course, you know, when you want to consider where he's going to be, you'll want to make sure that when you get to the end of this run that you're selling those weapons, because otherwise that money doesn't count if it's still in your inventory tied up in those things. Like we are liquidating at the end of this run to maximize the returns there. So that's a good look at Fragglehausen there, looking about 20K. Most likely that rifle is upgraded. Let's take a quick peek at Missing here and see. I think his name tag might be covering up the SRT that he's using here, so I can move that out of the way very quickly here just to show this off. So he's sitting on 67K, so quite a bit better off compared to Fraggle there. But again, we don't know how much is tied up in the weaponry, so it is possible that we've seen Missing perhaps take a look at the inventory and just decide to maybe not invest as much up front in the weapons. But he does have a lot of weapons on hand here, so there is an almost certainty there that a lot of that is going to be tied up in what's in his inventory as well. So good chance here that Missing is in the top of the pack here in terms of the money situation.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's take a look at our next contestant here, Blanks. And also a situation where the money and the nameplate are not getting along with each other here. So let me just take care of that real quick, and we'll just quickly zoom in on that. So he's sitting on about 65K, so pretty similar situation with blanks as we're seeing on the side of missing there. So it seems like that's kind of where the bar is set right now with, you know, being in the castle. You kind of want to be at around that 60K mark. I'm curious to see if anybody's going to beat that. Let's take a quick look at Joydern and see if
Another
that
name
is
tag situation.
See if that holy
179
cow, 179,000 pesetas. Again, we don't know how much of that may or may not be tied up. You know, and again, these other runners might have treasures and whatnot that they haven't sold yet either. That's always an option on the table. It really is going to come down to the end of this run, I think, when we're going to kind of determine who the winner is going to be. It really will be kind of down to the last, you know, as people start to finish their runs and we see the ending total there. But yeah, definitely, you know, Joydern with 180,000. Wow. Incredible there, incredible. And then, you know, we zoom in on Shark real quick, who is 300,000. Good Lord, just absolutely gaming on the money situation. Sheesh,
yeah,
you know?
It does really. Sheesh. I am curious to see the inventories and how much treasures they have, because some people could be waiting to sell them all at once. Other people might be selling them as they go. Like I see Missing No going through their inventory with a lot of gems and treasures. So I am wondering if people are holding out for maybe better gems that might make their treasures sell more. And yeah, but that's a lot of money, 300K. That's a lot.
Oh yeah. Well, every penny's gonna count once we get to the end of this run, because as you guys know, the points are awarded based on how much money you have at the end of the run. The person with the most money is going to get 400 points, and then it goes down by 25 points for every place that you go down, which means that 5th place is going to lose 125 points on the person that finishes in 1st place. So then on top of that, you also have the speed run bonus that factors into that as well. So if you have a great day today and you end up being the one to finish with the lowest IGT in tandem with the highest amount of money, that is an extra 40 points you're going to add to your score, to where you could potentially gain 165 points against the person that ends up in last place. So definitely a volatile situation with ever increasing stakes as we near day 3, where the stakes could not be higher. Once we get into day 3, it'll be the no merchant challenge, and that's where the point spread will start to really expand, because there's going to be hundreds of points of difference between the first and last place. So
yeah, I'm really excited for tomorrow. I wonder how nervous the runners are for tomorrow, because the first 2 days they went into the challenge not knowing what it was really. Like, they knew there was bingo, but they didn't know what it was, like the particular bingos, until the day before. Same with this challenge. They didn't know what they were going into today until just yesterday. But for tomorrow, they actually, in order to get into the competition, they had to submit a no merchant run. So every runner in that's going to be doing it tomorrow is familiar with the run. It's just who's the best at it, I guess, who has the most experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on top of that, you know, as we've mentioned earlier, anything kind of goes in these runs, to where, you know, even if you've got a tremendous amount of skill, you can pretty oftentimes end up in a situation where just bad luck just gets the better of your run, and unfortunately it just becomes ever increasingly difficult to recover from that. And I think, you know, previous esports events with Resident Evil 4 have really proven that even if you're a world record holder, no one is safe in these tournaments from bad RNG arriving and unfortunately doing some pretty detrimental damage to the times, and in this case sometimes even the money if you take too much damage. And again, heals being valuable, missing on a potentially tens of thousands of pesetas on that avenue. So definitely a toxic situation.
Yeah, I see Shark going with the cubic device, doing some of those. I think that'll be important to I don't know how many locations there are for the cubic device, but there's quite a few. Also, I think people will want to go to the throne room for the golden egg later, because that can sell for quite a bit. But also, will they want to use the golden egg to kill Salazar? Or will they want to save that to sell? Because I think it sells for like, what, 10K, 12K? But that would be interesting.
Amount. But
yeah.
The thing that I would consider with Salazar is that it would be so much more expensive to try to kill Salazar without the egg because the fight lasts longer. That introduces a whole range of not so desirable things that can happen. And so, you know, I personally don't think that the runners are going to opt out of the egg strategy, but I guess we're just going to have to see, because we're not super close to that section, but it is going to be coming up here probably in about 20 to 25 minutes or so. We should start seeing the first people come in with that. And honestly, with the pacing that we're seeing here, you know, we're coming up on the halfway mark of the remaining time. And generally speaking, by the halfway mark, you want to be in the Ashley section. That's right about where the halfway point of the run is on the speedrun side of things. Now, that, of course, depends on whether or not you're skipping chapter 14, but just as a general ballpark area, Ashley's section is definitely where you want to be at about that 90-minute mark. And so here we're almost 80 minutes in, and you know, we do have Shark on the Ashley section. Unfortunately, Fregelhausen losing all of his health there, taking the death in Waterhall, struggling to recover here. I think if you're
that near the beginning or the end? I wasn't looking.
I think he was about halfway through, so it could have been a lot worse. But yeah, definitely an unfortunate situation there. And, you know, if we look at the pace here, you know, I wouldn't say that it's over for Fregel yet, but he's definitely starting to reach that point where you really got to start making some tough calls. And, you know, we've said it before, and for the people at home, maybe you're just tuning in. Fregelhausen's currently in second place based on the events of day one on the bingo card. Fregelhausen actually had a really great day yesterday, doing a pretty solid clear of the bingo card. And honestly, his completion of the bingo card in tandem with still getting a small bonus on the speedrun challenge, he was able to nab second place on day one. And so I think if you're in his situation, not too dissimilar from missing, where you just really want to maintain. Unfortunately, Fregel's really struggling to maintain that situation right now. And I think, as I predicted at the beginning of day two, I do think we're going to start to see some movement on this leaderboard. And yeah, I think it becomes increasingly clear as we start to see Fregel, unfortunately, just falling behind with every death that he's taken so far today. Unfortunately, just and then Ashley goes down. Oh, that is not a good situation to be in at all if you're Fregel. Ooh.
Can we get some prayer emotes in the chat for Fregel?
Let's get some hype on Fregel in the chat. We need some good luck for him here. He narrowly manages to escape from that with his life, but Ashley is being carried away at the moment, and I think he got an AFK guy there for a second on that side. I think he's gonna probably opt in here to try to save Ashley, and that is a lot of enemies stacked up over there.
Oh my goodness!
Come
on,
very
Fregel.
dangerous situation for Fregel, but a very good dodge there. He's able to make it through, and he's gonna craft the flash. I think he's probably gonna use it as backup here because he's got a lot of Plaga set up over there in tandem with everything else going on. I think that was the right play, considering just that he really cannot afford to lose time there. But Ashley is incapacitated. That said, he should be in the clear because the enemy AI does deactivate after that. So, and she gets up by herself. So, very good recovery there. It
just might take a little bit longer for her to get there, but I think once you hit F there to lift her up, she just gets up. She's like, oh, I should actually do something for once. Okay.
Make herself
useful. I'm not the biggest Ashley fan, but I'll be nice to her today. Kinda.
Yeah, good recovery there by Fregel. You know, definitely, you know, cannot afford any more deaths in Fregelhausen's situation. Otherwise, we're potentially risking not being able to finish this run on time. I think he's still okay for now, but definitely need to start considering just being a little bit more careful because, you know, it does not take much for situations like these to add up to pretty considerable time loss in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and you got to remember, like, when you deal with problems through your run, like, that causes you stress. Like, I wonder how Fregel's feeling right now with, like, if the pressure's getting to him or if he still feels like he's doing good. Because he is doing well. He'll be able to finish the run. But it's just, he might not be able to do everything he wants. So I hope the pressure's not getting to the runners too much because it can affect your performance when things go wrong.
Absolutely. And so we have Joydern setting up the out of bounds. Not so much an out of bounds, but it sort of like clips you through the gate in chapter 10. And so it looks like he's setting that up to save a couple of seconds on the IGT. And I'm not sure if he's going for the CQBR or if he's just, trying to grab a couple extra treasures down below. But it does look like he is going to go ahead and make the detour. Not entirely sure what for, but my guess would probably be to try and snag the CQBR, which, it does look like that's the direction that he's headed. I'm not sure if he's going to decide to take the elevator down and possibly do the night challenge as well, because there is a lot of supplies down there. Right. But that CQBR is definitely an interesting thing because it's worth something, right? And you don't want to necessarily be leaving money on the table. Even though it's a weapon that you might not use, there's definitely inherent value in being able to take that and just sell it to the merchant.
Sorry.
Close
Did you
call
see
there.
that?
Yeah. Close call there.
I
but,
was really worried.
He does have body armor and he's pretty high health, so I don't think he's in too bad of a situation.
So it's not an insta-kill like with Ashley, right?
No, it will hit you pretty hard, though, and it will knock off quite a bit of the body armor.
Yeah. Also grabbing this golden lynx, which is worth 15,000. And I believe you can put gems in there, too, for added amount, so that's pretty good. But yeah, this cubic device, I feel like you should use it in most of the spots if they're not too far out of the way, because it is more treasures, and I'm really curious. I want to jump to the end and see what's gonna happen, because I feel like it's either gonna be really close or one person's just gonna pull right ahead with the amount of money they have. But yeah, looking forward to the end.
It's like
Where's Blanks right now? Finishing up Ashley.
Finishing up the Ashley section. I'm going to go back to Joydern because he's about to enter the Novi's section. And definitely when you combine that in tandem with, like, you have Novi's and Garrador, the double Garrador, and you have Verdugo all back to back. We definitely want to be trained on that so that way we don't miss any action there. It looks like Shark in a pretty similar situation to Joydern at the moment. Again, Joydern really picking up the lead here in these last few chapters. Shark had a pretty considerable lead prior to that, but it looks like Joydern has been able to make up for lost time there and pull the lead. We have Shark also going for the CQBR. I expect that we're going to see all of the other runners doing this as well, because I want to say that you can sell that for, I think it's maybe 20K or something like that. It's a pretty sizable chunk of change, so definitely worth it to make the detour, especially when you've got this amount of time, and we know that on our end, if you're the runners, you probably don't know, but on our end, we can definitely tell that it's the speed run side of things is going to be pretty close. So maybe somebody will make the decision to skip the CQBR to try to get a little bit of a bonus, but again, is it really worth the bonus if you're missing out on potentially 2 or 3 spots on the leaderboard? There's a lot of things to consider when you're in that boat, so you really want to pay attention to how much time you're spending on things and determine if it's really worth it to spend that time.
Yeah.
Getting hit there, going into critical, but he was prepared for it and he was able to use that heal. Getting hit again. Oh no, that's unfortunate for Joydern, but fortunately the body armor actually does help quite a bit in the Novi section. And
yeah, but also the body armor, if they're going to be repairing that, that's a lot of money going into the body armor. But also you might be able to save some health and sell that and make back the money. So yeah, I'm curious if people will keep refilling their body armor every time it goes out. I'm assuming they will, but then also I'm not sure, because I think, how much does it cost to refill your body armor once it's out?
I believe
it's
when
like
it's broken,
$8,000?
it's 8 or 9K, I think.
Yeah.
Looks like, so we have Blanks doing some shopping at the moment, and again, probably similar situation with Blanks. I believe he just wrapped up the Ashley section, so I fully expect that we are going to see Blanks also make that detour for the CQBR. Meanwhile, Fregelhausen was able to make it through Waterhall, so good news there for him, and ultimately squeezing through, getting into Chapter 8. Not a lot happening in Chapter 8. There's not a ton that can go wrong. There is quite a bit of treasure that is up for grabs in Chapter 8, but I don't know that the runners are willing to make the detour back. I didn't see too much of Chapter 8. I think some of that might have happened while we were on break earlier, but I think there is quite a bit of treasure on that first tower that he's shooting into right now on the top floor, but I don't know that it would be worth it trying to dodge that Gigante to try to grab that treasure. I believe there's like...
Yeah.
I know that there's a yellow orb over there, but I think that there's a small treasure as well. I don't remember what it was, but it's been a while since I've been over there. But yeah, it looks like he's getting through without too many issues. We have double Gyarados happening for both Joydern and Shark at the moment. And again, a really action-packed section here. I actually don't know if Blanks went for the CQBR, actually, because...
It doesn't look like it, no.
He was in the Ashley section, and we panned back to him pretty quickly, and I didn't see him go back for the CQBR, but maybe he'll go for it in Chapter 11? I'm not 100% sure. It would seem, though, that he is going to go ahead and opt out of the CQBR, which is going to cut a little bit into how much money he's potentially going to end the run with. And you know, again, even if you're skipping out on something like the CQBR, how much health you end up having to use versus sell, he could end up pulling ahead. I think Blanks has honestly had a pretty chill run so far. He's not in the lead by any means, but he's definitely, like, we haven't really seen him outside of, I think he died the one time in Cabin. But aside from that, we really haven't seen too many things go wrong for Blanks so far this run. So, you know, further inspection will kind of really be the deciding factor here, but we really have three runners here who have kind of just been neck and neck this whole time between Joydern, Blanks, and Shark. Meanwhile, Fraggle and Missing have just been, you know, back of the pack there, but, you know, we've seen the money totals here, and it's a little vague at the moment, but I do think that we're going to start to get a better idea of that as we get into the late game and people start selling some of those treasures.
Yeah, do you want to zoom in on Shark and Joydern? They're both coming up to Verdugo, and I'm interested to see what they do with their inventory at the next merchant here.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's get a zoom in here on Shark and Joydern. It's this one. Yep, here we go.
Yeah, there we go.
So, yep, so it looks like Shark we have doing the out of bounds here. Joydern getting ready to possibly, I'm assuming he's going to talk to the merchant here, since that's normally what you would do in this route. So, yeah, that should be pretty well according to expectation here, grabbing the treasures. And I don't know if we saw him make the crown yet, but this would normally be the spot where you would craft. Yep, here we go.
Oh, wow. There we go.
Look at all of that treasure in his inventory. So my guess here is going to be that the reason we saw Joydern with I think we saw him at 20K or 60K or something earlier. He's holding on to a lot of treasure at the moment. And so I think this is one of those situations where, you know, if you're thinking about how to optimize your gains on the treasure, you want to put your combos of the highest multiplicative value in the highest value treasures. That would be your best way to sort of min-max it, so to speak. So we saw him put the eyes into the lynx with rubies, I believe. And a lynx is a valuable treasure, but it's by no means the most valuable. And so here we go. We're watching him sell all of these treasures here. And we're about to see, he's got a little over 100K right now, but that's about to just completely go through the roof with all of this stuff he's about to sell. You can see it. You can see it adding up.
A lot of healths, too.
274. He's up to 462K, but he is going to go ahead and go for the rocket launcher, though. That subverted my expectations a little bit, though, because I was fully expecting him to go the grenade route instead, and then maybe opt in for a little bit longer pathing going through. But maybe in his particular case, it would be worth it to still do the skip, but then maybe do the Gigante fight the normal way, or like without the rocket launcher, so that he can bank and save that rocket launcher for later.
Random question. Are you able to sell the rocket launcher back?
You can sell it back.
You can? So say they used it for Verdugo, and then in the next chapter they sold it to the merchant. Would that work?
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Yeah, and, so maybe that's their plan. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's possible. There is also a way to use the rocket that's in the launcher and still be able to sell it later.
Nice.
So, and that's like after it has 0 in it, because of the way that the ammo swap glitch works. You can actually get it down to 0 and still sell it because it doesn't leave your inventory. So it's possible we could see something like that. I don't know that it would be optimal per se, but my prediction here is that we're going to see the rocket launcher used for the purposes of skipping, or rather doing the easy mode version of Verdugo. There are some treasures in the dynamite section, so maybe instead of using the rocket, we may still see the dynamite section play out, but otherwise, I do think that it's pretty likely that we're going to see the rocket actually be saved for a later period of time instead of just consumed, because I don't know that it's necessarily worth it to have to buy extra rockets and then leave money on the table.
Yeah. And we see Shark doing the grenade strat. Joydern opted to go for the normal strat with the grenade launcher, or with the rocket launcher, but Shark throwing a bunch of grenades. Verdugo has so much health, by the way, like, especially on professional. Do you see how many grenades he's thrown
Oh
at
yeah,
Verdugo?
it's
like,
a lot
he's thrown
of
like
grenades.
30 grenades. He's still not dead. I remember one time on one of my first playthroughs, I tried to kill him. I ran out of all my ammo, and it just takes a ridiculous amount to kill him, but he was able to do it. You're able to stun lock him with the grenades, so I think that was a good strategy for Shark.
Yeah,
I got to
especially
avoid
if you're
buying the rocket launcher and stuff, so...
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're trying to save money on that rocket launcher. I fully predicted that most of the runners would do what Shark just did there, but Joydern seems to have other plans in mind, and I am curious to see how that's going to unfold towards the end of the run to determine how much money he's going to end up with. I do fully expect that Shark will end up with more money than Joydern based on this decisions, but maybe Joydern has something up his sleeve that we don't know about yet.
Yeah, and also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but we did get a $30 contribution from Mengting Zhang. And there's no message or anything, but thank you so much for contributing to the prize pool. It's now at an even 1,300 to be split with across the top 3 runners. So just a reminder, the first place runner gets 50% of the prize pool. Second place gets 30%, and third place gets 20%. So if you want to see that prize pool get bigger, more stakes for the runners, and just make the runners happier, honestly, because, I mean, who doesn't like money, right? We all need money to live, for food, for housing. So if you want to make that prize pool bigger, do !prize in the chat, and you're able to contribute towards that prize pool. And, yeah, make the stakes a bit higher, so check that out.
And speaking of prize, I know my mods are still out there hunting for the G Fuel play of the day. So, we're definitely going to see some more high-octane gameplay coming up very soon, but it is time for that break. And we'll talk a little bit about our sponsors over at G Fuel, since we are talking about the G Fuel play of the day. Makes for a decent enough segue there, so I'm going to relieve Sneevil here so she can take a break, and we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about G Fuel, the sponsor for the Hazeblade Invitational, who are keeping the lights on, the cameras rolling, and all that hype in the chat happening. So thank you, G Fuel, so much for sponsoring not just the stream, but also this entire tournament. It has been an absolute blast, and everything that you guys are seeing on the screen yesterday, today, and tomorrow is all the direct result of the very generous contributions that G Fuel has made towards this tournament. So thank you, G Fuel. If you guys are interested in checking out G Fuel, !G Fuel in the chat, head on over to gfuel.com, and don't forget that you can use code HAZE at checkout for up to 30% off your order. And I have some amazing flavors here to talk to you guys about. I'm drinking the cotton candy right now, which is one of my top 3 favorite flavors. I love the cotton candy. And if you guys have never made anything in a shaker before, it's very easy to prepare a G Fuel. So typically they come, in a tub just like this. So you'll, open up the tub, unscrew the lid, and you'll have powder inside. So in this case, here's my cotton candy that I made earlier. And inside that tub is a cute little scoop. So you'll fill up your shaker with 16 ounces of water. And you'll just take one rounded scoop. Well, I usually do a leveled scoop, but you'll do a leveled scoop of the G Fuel. You'll dump it into your shaker. You'll close the lid, and you'll shake it really good for 15 to 30 seconds and get all that powder mixed up well. And then you'll be able to crack it open and take a sip. They do also make G Fuel in a can, though. So if you do prefer, that sort of sparkling variety of beverage, or you prefer sort of like a soft drink, you can get G Fuel in a can as well. And they are available at GNC, Walmart, Vitamin Shop, as well as other retailers, as well as on gfuel.com. So I have actually had a chance to try those as well. I actually have one can right here, which is the Divine Peach, another one of my personal favorite flavors. And that carbonated sort of tone is really, really interesting with the vibrant flavors that you get naturally from G Fuel. And whether you like the simple or the complex flavors, depending on your palate, I like to talk about that a lot because there's just so many different flavors. And I know some people lean towards complex, and some people also lean towards the simpler stuff. So just know that there's pretty much a flavor that everyone can enjoy with G Fuel. If you get it in the can, you get that sort of sparkle to it as well, which is really nice. And the the cans also have a really smooth flavor too. Some of my favorites are also come in the cans. You can get the cotton candy in the can. We have the divine peach in the can. And I've also tried a few other ones as well, like sour cherry, which is also pretty good. Hype sauce, which is one of the first ones that I've had a chance to try. This one is now available in a can. I believe that's a relatively new thing. But there's a ton of different canned options if you do prefer that. And there is, of course, also the hydration line if you're not too big on the caffeine side of things. This one here is the Shiny Splash, but I do have other flavors as well. For instance, we have a fruit punch right here. This is the M-Fam Punch, and it tastes like a very Hawaiian punch. So that'll conclude our G Fuel sponsor break. But again, guys, please head on over to gfuel.com. Check out their sales that they have going on. Don't forget to use code HAZE to get up to 30% off. I'm going to run some Twitch ads here for the next 90 seconds, and then we're going to come back and we're going to get the updates and check out everything we have going on here with these runners, because we're over halfway through the runs now and we still have a lot of action left to unpack. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. You're watching the Hazeblade Invitational powered by G Fuel. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Hazeblade, and I'm joined by our incredibly amazing co-host, Sneevil. Sneevil, how are you doing? How are you enjoying all this action that has unfolded over this last hour and a half?
Well, I'm loving this. It's kind of interesting to see how everyone has a different approach to the run. Like, not everyone's doing the same thing. Obviously, they only had a day to prepare, so it's not like they had a lot of time to practice the route and actually see if it works. So there's a lot of on-the-fly, just things that they have to do. They really have to adapt. Honestly, this entire tournament, especially the first 2 days, is all about adapting and how well you know the game. So I think these runners have done a really good job, even though some of them have gotten bad luck throughout the run. They're all doing good. I think they're all in the range where they'll be able to finish the run on time, because of course you don't get any points for this round if you do not finish. So finishing the run is definitely a priority over the money, I would say, because if you don't finish at all, you get no points. Because we only do take the total of your money at the end of the run. So I'm hoping every runner will be able to finish today and hopefully grab as much treasure as they can. But yeah, I think Fraggle right now is the farthest behind. Still in the Ashley section. I'm a little bit worried for Fraggle, but as he showed yesterday, very good player, should be able to finish this as long as he doesn't go out of the way and take too many detours, but may not be able to finish with the most amount of money if he doesn't have as much time to pick everything up. We see Blanks actually using a different strat on the Gigantes. I think gonna try to use the lever to get him in the lava here. But normally would you use rocket launchers to this part, right? Like you'd use the infinite rocket launcher glitch or something, I think.
Absolutely.
So I think he's trying to save some money here.
This would normally be the part where you would actually consume that rocket launcher that you buy before Verdugo after getting the opportunity to use it multiple times to both kill Verdugo and skip the dynamite section before that. But in this case, because money is such a priority, you really don't want to necessarily spend the money on the rocket launcher, which earlier we did see Joydern opt in to do that. But my prediction on that is I do think that that's going to hurt Joydern in the long run, because that's 160,000 pesetas, more or less getting flushed down the toilet if you don't have a plan to either sell it back or find some way to carry it in to either save time or honestly, I don't know. But that's just a lot of money, in my opinion, to sort of, flush down the drain like that. I don't know. We're going to just have to see.
Yeah, and I'm interested. I didn't see what Missing No did for the merchant there, but interested to see what strategy they'll be using for Verdugo, if they bought the rocket launcher or if they're going to be using the grenade strat. I do think the grenade strat is the better one for today because you're able to save that money on the rocket launcher. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing what Missing No is going to do. We have blanks on the mine carts, which is pretty straightforward. We have Shark. Where is Shark right now? Grab the extra flag and also on the minecart part. And then Freggle's finishing up the Ashley section. Freggle's still a bit behind, but do you want to pull up the fifth runner as well?
They're on the other minecart section as well. We actually have a lot of minecarting happening right now.
Yeah, a lot of people syncing up and all on the same part, which I'm kind of surprised. I really thought everyone would be in different places of the run, because everyone with a completely different route. But no, we have 3 people on minecarts at once, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and looking at Missing as well, Missing has actually gained quite a bit of ground in the last 30 minutes or so. We were looking at a situation before where a lot of the runners had moved on to Chapter 8 before Missing had even entered the village, and now Missing is coming up on the end of Chapter 10, and whereas everyone else minus Fraggle is on Chapter 11, we actually are it's looking like that gap is starting to narrow, at least by a couple, maybe a minute or two's worth. And honestly, again, with Missing, I don't know that Missing has much of a chance to finish with the best IGT at this point, but that's where the money really comes into play here. And we see Missing doing the infinite nade strat with Verdugo, which is really crucial here because and he's going for the teabag, which you really can't you really can't go into a game like this and not teabag every once in a while, I guess. But it's just really giving them the business. That's what we like to say. Just really making sure to get the job done, I guess. But yeah, no, if you're Missing situation, as we've mentioned numerous times, ending day 1 in first place, the goal being to maintain that lead. It's not necessarily about trying to make bold moves here. It's really about just trying to play, maybe not safe per se, but just to make strategic decisions that are ultimately going to lead to you staying in that first place spot with just enough of a lead that you can afford for some things to happen. And unfortunately, in Missing's case, some things have definitely happened. And now we're in a situation where it's not looking like he'll be able to really stand much of a chance to get a huge bonus on the IGT side of things for the speedrun portion, but we will see how that unfolds on the money side of things, that he could still end up with a fair bit of cash at the end of this and still be able to maintain that first place spot.
Yeah, I'm a little worried for Fraggle right now in the Novicidor section. He's choosing not to heal with kind of a low amount of health. So I think he could take maybe one more hit. Maybe he's waiting for that one more hit to be able to heal because he only has full health. But I'm really hoping he's able to pull through this area because, and especially the double Gyarados and stuff after this, I don't think there's a save in between. So this is a really critical section where if you die, you're going to be going quite far back. So I'm hoping Fraggle is able to pull out this section without too much trouble, because if he does die here, I think that might put into jeopardy his ability to finish the run at all.
Agreed. And I think that, in his case, he's well within the limits. If he were to just revert to a speedrun route at this stage, he could probably still finish the run, which I would say is probably the more important thing at this point, because you still do get some points for at least finishing the run, and even if you're in last with your score, you at least still get something. But at the end of the day, it's really imperative for Fraggle to make sure that every shot counts here. He's going into double Gyarados, one of the higher higher risk sections of the run. You know, we talked about this when Joydern and Shark were both coming up into this section, that you do kind of have a bit of a gauntlet here where you're going through Novicidors, followed by Double Gyarados, followed by the Verdugo fight, all back to back here. And so it's just a pretty jam-packed section where the focus levels have got to be at 100 for that entire duration. And you do get a little bit of a break once you get to the minecart section, but this is really a part of the run where things can go incredibly wrong. And I know if you're Fraggle right now, you're probably really hoping with everything that's already happened in this run that that things start to improve from here on out.
Yeah, Fraggle at least had a really good Double Gyarados room. I was a little bit concerned because he did a strat that's different than what everyone else did. He chose to ring the bell and then throw some grenades and stuff, which I think is an older strat. But as long as it works and it's able to get him through the room, like, use whatever strategies you can, even if they're not optimal per se. But yeah, we have Joydern done with chapter 11, I believe, going into chapter 12. Really, we don't have too much of the game left. We only have 4 or 5 more chapters after this. I see Missing No going for the dynamite route, which is probably smart. There's some good treasures in here you can grab. And I don't think Missing No has the rocket launcher either, so not able to bypass that dynamite wall. Yeah, there's quite a few. There's something in the treasure chest that he actually skipped there. I feel like he's worried about the Ganados being right behind him and maybe didn't want to go for that chest. I'm not sure what's exactly in there, but who knows, that chest could be the difference between first, second, and third place. So skipping treasures could be good because you're going faster and you might not get hit. You're able to salve your health and stuff, but also you might be missing that extra 1,000 at the end to put you in the top 3.
Yeah, we have Shark working on the Krauser fight here. It looked like it was a pretty clean opener, but unfortunately things are kind of starting to fall apart here with the Krauser fight. But he's able to get through. It looks like he will be able to finish here. Krauser's pretty much done. But that was a pretty rocky midsection there in the Krauser fight. I happened to be, like, when I was switching the scenes over, I saw the beginning of it, which started out really well. Unfortunately, when you go for the leg jab strat, though, it makes the fight incredibly random with just, like, getting the staggers to happen consistently. And so, unfortunately, if you do that strat versus the stabbing him in the face strat, you do have the potential to save some time. But I don't know, in a marathon setting like this, I don't really know, or even in a live speedrun setting, I don't know that that's necessarily the best play, but hey, sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit, is what they say, so.
Yep. And Missing No with the double Gigantes also doesn't, it seems to be doing an older strategy. I'm not sure if he's going to wait for Luis to throw the dynamite on him. I think that would be the safest bet. Took some damage. Luckily has quite a bit of health, so that's fine. We have Fraggle about to do Verdugo. Joydern is actually the farthest ahead, I think, right before Salazar, going into the elevator section. There's quite a few treasures here, but I think they're all easy to pick up. There's 2 right around the elevator that I think everyone will grab. And then I think there was 1 downstairs that I'm not sure if they grabbed, but they probably did. I think it was like a gold bar or something like that. Yeah, this room shouldn't be too bad for collecting treasures, the elevator room. But just hopefully he doesn't die, because this is a long room. I don't think it's too hard. Oh, he did get grabbed, though. In a little bit of a predicament. Hopefully he doesn't have too much trouble with the ball rolling back down. Yeah, this is a little bit of a kerfuffle here. Oh, no.
Gosh, yeah. He's getting really rough waters here. And, oh, unfortunately, the combo coming through, and he's just getting grabbed over and over. Right back into critical HP, which is just really not... but the ball comes in for the save, though. What a...
clutch.
Yeah, that's just how he planned it, right? You know, just going in there. Okay, so I think he's getting cold feet. He's getting cold feet on the next ball. And the problem is with that ball, it is a one-hit kill, unfortunately. So you really, if you're in a situation, I can understand why he did what he did there, is because with going into critical HP twice and then also narrowly avoiding that ball, like, you really don't want to take any unnecessary risk at all. But honestly, like, I don't think anybody would have played that any differently in those circumstances. Like, that was really solid gameplay there. And you know, at the end of the day, you were kind of just waiting around. But honestly, sometimes just standing still is the best answer.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny if you look at Fraggle's scream. He's throwing rats. I guess he has a mod where his grenades are rats. So he's killing Verdugo with some rats.
Very nice.
Never before seen. But yeah, he's also opting to go for the grenade strat. That's what I think most runners should be doing, to be honest. quite a bit of money saved, but not doing that, you do save more time for yourself, so, because it takes like 30 grenades.
Oh, for sure.
Shark doing a good job on this upper section. Joydern doing a good job on the elevator. I do notice that Joydern is electing to use like green herbs by themselves instead of the red-green mix. So I think he's trying to save his full health for selling. Maybe pick up some yellow herbs, turn those into the 10k ones that you can sell. But Joydern does seem to not want to use his full health, and it's putting him in a little bit of danger being just having less health in general. If he does get hit twice in a row, I mean, that could be the end for him.
Yeah,
but
and unfortunately, Shark
really
encountering a similar situation that we saw with Joydern, where we have this unfortunate situation with the iron ball today. It's out for blood, I guess, but similar situation though, getting into critical, but still able to navigate that with ease. And, you know, just, this is how you can tell that we're dealing with professionals here, is that they know what the patterns are for the ball. And while we definitely see everybody get their fair share in this section with getting clipped by the ball every once in a while, you can definitely tell that being careful is kind of the play here and not overstepping their boundaries. And that's ultimately why we saw Joydern sort of walk back on that second ball that came out, and then eventually just, you know, was able to get through clearly. But yeah, it was definitely a tight spot. And I know that Joydern and Shark are definitely well attuned to what needs to be done there. Joydern coming up at the top of the lift. Meanwhile, Shark just getting started at the bottom of the lift. Very close spread here between those two. Again, Joydern just picking up a pretty good lead while Shark had it initially in the village. Joydern seems to have sort of solidified his lead going into the Salazar fight, but it is still a pretty close race here getting into the third act of Resident Evil 4. But again, you know, even though we're seeing Joydern here in the later part of the run, it is based on the IGT, so it is possible that even though Shark is looking to be behind at the moment, there is the possibility that Shark does have a lower IGT, and we actually just don't know right now because his game crashed. So we're seeing a 9 hours and 22 minute timer, but that's just because of a bug with the timer, and so unfortunately we don't have an accurate assessment on that, but we should get an idea of it when the run ends, based on whatever needs to happen from a retiming standpoint to make sure that we're okay there.
Yeah, did you notice anyone backtrack to the throne room?
I did not. In fact, I don't think anybody has thus far. And we have Joydern and Shark past that. We have Blanks seeming to forego that, which interestingly enough, Blanks also did not go for the CQBR. So doesn't really look too much like we are running into the Salazar situation, but then again, the egg itself just might not be worth it, and it's possible that we're just seeing a little bit of a spread here on people just deciding to go for a lower time over grabbing a couple thousand extra pesetas.
Yeah, and it looks like Fraggle unfortunately took another death in the dynamite section. Luckily there's a save not too far away, but still I think that ate like 1 or 2 minutes off of his time, and Fraggle is he's doing well. I think he'll be able to make it in time. Like, I think he'll be able to finish. He's going at a good pace. Just can't take too many more deaths.
For sure. I think for general tracking and just estimation purposes, I'd say if you get to the island with at least 45 minutes remaining, you probably don't run the risk of running out the timer, so to speak, but you're definitely going to be cutting it close, and you're definitely going to have to make some really crucial endgame decisions. And this is what we've been forecasting since the very beginning of today, is that, you know, it seems nice to go grab all these extra treasures when you're at the beginning of the game, but then when bad luck strikes, it's time that you don't have when you get to the island to go detour and pick up the high value items like the crown that's going to be coming up here in this next chapter. So, you know, we have Shark and Joydern both, you know, wrapping up chapter 12 here, where chapter 13 will have a crown in it, which is worth another 100k when they level that up. So,
what is Shark doing?
Shark is actually going,
or is he throwing it afterwards? Okay. I was concerned for a minute.
Slightly modified strat there. It looks like he actually picked up the Stingray instead of the other rifle. So I'm wondering what the logic is on that, but he does manage to take down Salazar without too many issues.
Yeah, we got another one having trouble with the ball section. Blank's almost dying. Hopefully it doesn't get whacked here.
Yep. And
oh wow, that duck was really, really good. That was well done.
Unfortunately, it looks like Fraggle possibly taking the death and backing out to the menu.
Oh no.
I'm not entirely sure what happened here, but
right now it seems like he's at an hour 50 minutes, so I'll just make note of that.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there with Fraggle. I'm not entirely sure what we have going on there, but can zoom in on Missing here and see where we're at with Missing. Missing has been doing a pretty good job. Looks like he's working through the minecart section. He's been gaining ground pretty steadily ever since that unfortunate situation in the village, putting him back several minutes in Chapter 3. But just steadily maintaining a pace, and honestly, seems like things have been going pretty smoothly since he entered the castle.
Yes, yeah. I'm wondering if Missing No feels pressure now to get a bit farther ahead. I'm wondering if he's skipping treasures or anything like that, because every treasure you skip, especially if everyone else is grabbing it, I mean, like, if you didn't go for, like, the machine gun in the Ashley section, if everyone else grabbed it, like, you're missing those thousands of pesetas, so... But Missing No is doing a really good job, like, almost really not that far behind. Almost at Krauser, like, doing a good job keeping up with everyone, and I don't think they'll have a problem finishing off the run as long as they keep going at this pace. Then we have Shark already pretty much done this chapter, going to the island now. We have a couple people in the island. We have Joydern and Shark. And then hopefully Fraggle we're able to get that settled too.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It looks like he had to step away from his computer for a moment, so I'm not sure what happened there.
Hopefully everything's good with him.
Yeah, hopefully all is well there. But guys, if you guys are interested in supporting the tournament, we do have contributions open to the prize pool. We are up to $1,300 at this point, you guys. And you guys can make an impact on that prize pool. Sneevo and myself, we don't take any of that money. That goes directly to the runners. And the first place winner will receive 50%, second place will get 30%, and third place will get 20% of that prize. So if you guys are interested in helping support speedrunning as an esport, please head on over to that link-ish, hooking us up with the exclamation point prize command. You can click that link in the chat, and that will give you a direct link to contribute and bolster the prize pool, which again goes directly to the runners of this tournament. So I appreciate everybody and their support and their contributions. We do have a G Fuel break coming up here in just a couple of minutes, but I did want to see Blanks wrap up his chapter 12 here. We do have Missing coming up on the Krauser fight as well, so we have quite a bit of action happening here actually, because we also have Joydern and Shark actually at the same spot now.
Yeah.
Looks like Shark was able to catch up here. I think Joydern ran into a bit of a hiccup here with the turret skip. And he is going for the treasure, but I think he might be making a last-minute decision to walk back on that, because he just gave up all of his lead there to Shark with the unfortunate situation that transpired, that unfortunately just manages to make it through. It was a very narrow escape, though. He was almost in that turret when it happened. Meanwhile, we have Missing No going up against Krauser. We have Blanks getting ready to approach Salazar. We have a lot of action happening on the screen here, guys. It's almost hard to pick which runner to focus on, because there's just so much happening.
And our timer is now at 1 hour remaining, chat.
Yep, chat, we are in the final hour before this timer is up. And if these runners don't finish before the hour is up, they do not get any points today. It is incredibly important that runners are able to finish. And, you know, in Fraggle's case, I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. He did have to step away from his computer. I'm not entirely sure what the issue is there, but I am hoping that all is well and that he'll be able to finish in time, because we are down to that last hour, and unfortunately for Fraggle, it is really looking grim.
Yeah, I really do hope everything's okay with Fraggle. Like, as long as he's fine, like, it's unfortunate that he's had to step away, but I just hope everything's good with him.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
We have.
And we do have. Are you about to do your thing?
Yeah, I think we can probably watch this Salazar kill real quick.
Okay.
Blanks is Blanks is doing some jukes there with the knife. That was pretty interesting. I think he was trying to wait for the crossbow to fire so he could parry it, but it didn't look like it was happening, so he just gave up on that and just kept going.
Yeah, all right, so I see Joydern and Shark too going for a lot of the extra treasures, going for all the island ones. Blank's going with the egg strat as well, just the normal strat. I think that's smart, like you said before. It's a lot safer. Salazar is really hard to kill when he's running around or flying around the room. So hopefully he's able to get this kill here. There we go.
Yep, he
Blank's
gets the
with
kill.
a really, really clean Salazar fight.
Absolutely, very clean. And yeah, I think we'll be in a good spot here for you to take a break. And I am going to we're going to talk a little bit about G Fuel chat, and then we're going to get back into the festivities. Of course, it looks like we had missing DC. We'll get into that here shortly. But yes, guys, G Fuel, this entire tournament is sponsored by G Fuel. Thank you so much to everybody at G Fuel for your generous contribution and all the support for the stream over these last few months, and for the ongoing support for this tournament. I could not be happier with how things have went so far. I've been having a great time with this tournament. Hope you guys are too. Let's talk a little bit about some of these flavors, guys. I've mentioned it a few times now, but I think it is time to put the snow cone flavor in the spotlight, guys. This is my favorite flavor of all of the G Fuels that I've tried so far. And it's honestly, it's funny because it's kind of hard for me to explain why I love this flavor so much. But if I had to sum it up in as short of a way as possible so that it makes sense, it is just a very good flavor for my palate preferences. And I also do really like the the tasty treat flavored G Fuels. One example of that being the Party Punch, which tastes like Fruity Pebbles. But the snow cone, I mean, it tastes like a snow cone. It reminds me of like going to the carnival and getting a snow cone, or like going to the amusement park when you're a kid, and like it smells like that smell when you like go into an amusement park, or you go to like a ball game or whatever, and you walk into like the where the area where all the food is. When you smell this, that's exactly what it smells like. And so it's like the nostalgia, and then the fact that it tastes the same as that, and it's just an amazing flavor. And if you guys haven't had a chance to check out the snow cone, definitely check it out. It is a top tier flavor in my opinion. I absolutely love it. And we do have of course a ton of other flavors too. Which one haven't I talked about yet, I guess, at this point? So we do have our Party Punch from earlier. And again, this one tastes like Fruity Pebbles. If you guys like Sonic the Hedgehog, it is also a Sonic the Hedgehog licensed G Fuel product. And yeah, you open this one up. The other thing I haven't really talked too much about with G Fuel is that they do have fun colors with the beverages as well. So they, like in this particular, I think this one turns blue. And then they also have, like, you know, if you're doing the Elden Ring one, it's like a pinkish reddish hue. And then of course you also have a handful of other color options as well. Like my margarita one that I have upstairs is green. So tons of different fun colors and flavors and all of that. So definitely, guys, if you have not done so yet, please head on over to gfuel.com and don't forget to use code Haze at checkout to get up to 30% off your order. I'm going to run some ads, guys, for Twitch, and we're going to take a quick break here, but don't go anywhere. We have plenty of RE4 action headed your way. We'll be right back. You're watching the Hazeblade Invitational, powered by G Fuel. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Hazeblade, and I am joined by the lovely Sneevil, who is helping us commentate our event. Hope everybody's been enjoying themselves so far. I want to hear everybody's thoughts in the chat. Who are you guys rooting for to win this thing? And yeah, we're gonna be chit-chatting it up for these next few minutes here. And Sneevil, how are just give me everything that's on your mind right now.
I think everyone's doing honestly really good with just the small prep period. Everyone seems to have a route down. They know which extra treasures they're gonna grab. I'm really impressed. I'm honestly really impressed with every single runner. Unfortunately, we have some tech problems though, which yesterday I was like, oh, nothing went wrong really. Like there's the one clip that you like didn't show me. That was the only really problem we had. And then today, it gets it all accumulated, and hopefully the runners are able to come back. I'm not sure if Missing's internet went out or anything like that, but I mean, it's life, stuff happens, but I'm hoping they are able to come back. If not, that is quite unfortunate. But I just hope everything's okay with the runners behind the scenes. But yeah, other than that, everything's been good, kind of the way I've expected in a way. I'm looking forward to seeing how the last merchant goes and what they're going to sell, what they're going to keep. Because you want to sell absolutely everything that you possibly can, but you need to keep enough ammo to be able to defeat Sadler, because I don't think people will want to buy the rocket launcher at the end. I don't think that's a good idea. It costs, what, 160,000, so it's like, I don't know, you need to kind of calculate how much ammo exactly do you need for Sadler, or else you might be missing something, have to reload. Yeah, and hopefully you save before and after the merchant, because if you sell too much stuff, you don't have enough ammo, and then what are you gonna do, knife only, I guess? Like, I don't want a knife only Sadler, that sounds terrible.
Gotcha, yeah, it's definitely been an interesting couple of hours here. We're 2 hours into the competition, and yeah, it's definitely been a rocky road for some of the runs today. We had Fraggle and Missing in first place, and then unfortunately just some bad RNG in Village has really gotten into some hot water, to where now we're starting to see some pretty substantial movement on the leaderboard, and you know, now we're getting into a situation where you know, it's down to the wire, and I think when we start to get into the results at the end of the day today, we're going to see some really serious movement.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be surprised, honestly, because it's really, you can't really tell who's in the lead yet. There's no, like, you can look at everyone's total of pesetas, but you don't know what's in their inventory. So really, it's going to be a big surprise once we get to the end of the run, just seeing what everyone's scores are. Like, I have no idea who's in the lead. I know Shark had a big bank account, had like 300K at one point. So I think Shark has a lot of money, but also we don't know what everyone else has. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
For sure. Well, we're going to jump right back into the action here, guys. So let's get back in there and see it. We do have a couple of runners with some tech issues right now. I am going to step away for a couple of minutes just to try and figure out what's going on there, and we will get back into it as soon as we can. So, Sneevil, you can take it away in the meantime, and I'll be back soon, guys.
All right, chat, you're stuck with me for a little bit. So we have Blanks with the Regenerators. Joy, they're honestly pretty neck and neck. They're in pretty much the same room right now. Joy Turn just doing the out of bounds, not get hit by the Regenerator. But they're neck and neck. I'm really surprised how close they are. Blanks coming up on the same out of bounds. And also, I saw someone ask in chat saying they thought this was No Merchant. No Merchant is actually going to be tomorrow for day 3. So tomorrow's run is going to be a new game, professional no merchant run. So for this run, they're allowed to use the merchant. The goal of today is to collect as much money as you can, and we're going to calculate it by who has the most money at the end of the run. So the first person who gets first place will get, I believe it's 400 points. Then second place will be 375, and it goes down for each place. So the difference between first place is 400 points, but if you get fifth, that's 275. So you're going to be 125 points behind first place. So it really is important to get as much money as you can. Also, finishing the run is just as important, as we've mentioned before. If you don't finish the run, we can't get the total at the end, so you just get no points. So hopefully everyone's able to finish within the time limit. We still have 48 minutes left. We have Blanks getting whacked by a Regenerator. Able to get out of there, not too difficultly, though. And we have Joy Dern, I think, ending chapter 13. So they're almost done the run, to be honest. Like, there's not very many chapters left. There's 3 more chapters for Joy Dern. Grabbing that crystal ore. I believe there's 2 crystal ores in this game. And they both sell for quite a bit. I think it's like 15,000 or something, and they're both pretty easy to pick up, so I think every runner will be grabbing those. And Blank's doing the sneaky strat, going to stab this guy right here. And yeah, Joydern and Blanks are head and head. Or head to head. Is it head in head or head to head? I think it's head to head. I'm not good at English. It's my only language though. But that's okay. Also, I love Joydern with all the mods. Like, I look over and you just casually see Yoshi just standing there. I'm inclined to install that mod myself because Yoshi's pretty friendly. You know, I like Yoshi. Blank's picking up the scope, about to do this part. Joydern jumped ahead quite a bit. I'm really curious what he's going to be doing here. There's a couple of treasures. So normally in the speedrun, what you do is you do a door skip, which Joydern seems to be doing right away. But if he did go to the left there, oh no, he's going down the ladder. So there's quite a few treasures in this area where if you do the door skip, you're skipping out on all these treasures. So he's going to be grabbing the bangle from the trash. Also seems to be going farther to grab a couple of more, so I wonder if he does plan to do this entire section the way you're supposed to, or just grab a couple treasures and then go back. We have Blanks dealing with the regenerator room. Hopefully, so this room, I hate it because if you have a grenade or anything or a dynamite explodes, it can let those regenerators out of the tank, so you really want to avoid that. Blank's doing a good job though. Oh, that duck was amazing! Did you see that? That duck, he was behind him. I don't even know how we saw that. And yeah, I agree, the IKEA shield is great. No, some of these runners have really cool mods in there. We have Joydern still going for some of the treasures. I think he is going for this door skip now. And now we have Shark at Krauser. Shark seems to be the farthest ahead so far. Shark's gonna do a little strat here. He's gonna throw a grenade, and then he's gonna jump down and watch the cutscene. And what this does is that Krauser will just not appear. Oh, he's not actually watching the cutscene. I'm interested in what he's doing right here, because normally they're gonna watch the cutscene, and that makes Krauser not jump down here, but Shark is opting to fight Krauser for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe he accidentally skipped the cutscene. Or maybe he just really hates Krauser and just wants to shoot him in the face. Who knows? But he was able to quickly take care of Krauser. That's good. The only thing he lost there was maybe some of his ammo he could sell later, but other than that, he's doing a really good job. All right, we have Blanks done with chapter 13, I believe. Joydern coming into this part with Ashley with the lever. I don't think they should have too much trouble here. I don't think there's too many treasures to grab either. I am curious, though, why Shark opted to fight Krauser there. I wonder if it was a mistake or if it was on purpose. I didn't notice either, but there is a beetle around there in the area where Shark is, but I'm not sure if he went back to grab that. The beetle, I think, is worth like 15,000, so if you know it's there, you might as well grab it. Alright, Blanks coming up on this section as well. I'm curious if Blanks will be going for all the treasures. Going for this one up there. Going up to the door. It looks like Blanks is planning to do door skip about right away. I'm not sure if this is the best decision because there are some easy treasures to grab in this area. So he's opting to miss most of the treasures and just go straight for the door skip. I'm wondering if he feels like he's running out of time. I'm having a little bit of trouble with that door skip as well. There, finally got it. So yeah, this door skip skips pretty much the entire chapter. You know that part with the crane, and it's really annoying and it takes forever and Ashley's trying to hit the wall with the crane. Well, you skip all of that by doing that, but also you skip a lot of treasure by doing this door skip. And Joydern seems to be, I can't tell who's the farthest ahead. I believe it's actually Shark coming into the Krauser fight right here. Going to be using the Killer 7. Misses one of his headshots though, unfortunately. I'm hoping he has enough ammo to finish this fight. He still has 9 magnum shots. Oh, that was easy. Shark knows what he's doing. Yeah, maybe it is the safety strat. I agree. All right, Joydern having a little bit of trouble with all these Ganados. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Joydern is just reloading. He's like, no, I'm not doing this right now. I can't recover from this. Ashley was like grabbed. He threw it. He was in danger. That was not a good situation. So Joydern going to reload again. I wonder if he accidentally reloaded the wrong... No. I'm not sure what Joydern is doing right now, actually. I'm not sure why he elected to reload again. He seems to be going backwards. Oh, Ashley's still grabbed. Are you serious? Oh, Ashley, you're so useless. It's okay, though. All right, Blanks, I think, can grab another crystal ore right here. Those are worth quite a bit. That's the second one you can grab. And it really doesn't take much time to go grab that. You just grab it before you activate this cutscene. You can grab it afterwards as well. Yeah, Ashley really giving Joydern a hard time. And Shark, really clean Krauser fight. Good job. Out, I blinked and I missed that fight, but good job, Shark. Really high level gameplay there. We have Joydern doing the door skip. I think grabbed a couple extra treasures before doing that. All right, then we have Blanks. There's a couple treasures in this little tent area as well. You can go down here. There's a treasure in here. A nice gold bar. I think that sells for 10k as well. And remember, every treasure that you grab, they're all gonna add up at the end. Like, I'm really curious how the totals are going to be, because it could be like a 100,000 difference between the runners, or it could be just like a couple thousand, where if they picked up that one extra treasure, it might have pushed them into first place. So hopefully there's no regrets in this run. I see Blank selling a lot of his stuff, has a lot of diamonds and treasures left. Selling some of his extra weapons. I can tell, though, he seems to be electing to save his health. I think he might be mixing it up to sell. Yeah, seems to be missing a red herb that he wants for that red, yellow, green combo. Those do sell, by the way. The red, yellow, green combo sells for 10k. So a lot of this run has been, do I want to sell my health? Or do I want to keep it and make sure I don't die? Obviously, selling it is good because you get more money, but dying really sets you back in the time and you might not be able to finish. All right, Joydern also going for that ore. Also, I'm very impressed with how, obviously, these runners have played Resident Evil 4 a lot. But when you're running the game, you don't collect all of the treasures. You collect the same ones every time, but you don't really go out of your way for treasures. But I'm surprised with how easily these runners were able to remember where all of the treasures were and really route them into their run with less than 24 hours of preparation. All right, we have Shark with the famous Mike part. Mike's gonna come in clutch. I don't think there's too many treasures around here. However, there is that big room where you use the glitch, or it's not a glitch, you use grenades to throw at the turret, and then you go in that room with the double turrets. It's like the crazy island room. I don't really know how to call it. But I'm wondering if there's any treasures in that room, because you skip most of that large room that's right after this one, and I'm wondering if there's treasures that people will be going for, if they're just going to go with the speedrun route for safety. And we have Blanks heading into Krauser, done with the first part now. I don't think Krauser's too hard. I'm not sure if anyone backtracked for the beetle. I believe there's a beetle around here that sells for quite a bit. I don't know if anyone's grabbed that. Probably would be a good idea too. I mean, any treasure that's near you and doesn't take longer than 10 seconds to grab, you might as well. But yeah, I think everyone's pretty neck and neck right now. Blanks is a little bit behind, but not by much at all. I think he'll still be able to finish the run. There's still 40 minutes remaining. All right, let's see how Shark deals with this section. Let's see if he opts for extra treasures. We see Joydern selling the crown. I'm gonna assume that he's going to opt for... So I think he's trying to figure out where he wants his gems. So remember, the colors of gems that you put into items actually have different bonuses. So you have... It's different for every different combination, or every different treasure, but he's trying to figure out, like, which gems do I put in which treasures for the maximum amount of money. Looks like Shark's skipping about this whole room and just doing the normal strat. He's just gonna run through here and pull the 2 levers and then just get out. I'm assuming everyone's going to be doing duffel bag skip after this as well, just for a faster Ashley carry. Yeah, Joydern's still trying to figure out what gems they want to use. It doesn't seem like they have all the colors that they have planned to have. I think Joydern is trying to make sure he has the 5 for the 5-color crown. He hasn't filled in the crown yet, so The highest selling treasure, if you didn't know, is the crown, where you have 5 different gems in it that are all different colors. So I think Joyturn is stressed out a bit. You see his mouse just going crazy. I don't think he knows what he wants to sell, what gems he wants to use, because of course they didn't get much time to practice. So this is all on the fly. Oh, we have Shark doing a really good job with this room. This room is really hectic, but he's out of there. He's out of there and probably moving on to Duffel Bag Skip. We have Blanks coming on to the next part of Krauser. Seems to be flying through it. You really do not want to take a death during this part, especially if you haven't saved yet. I'm not sure if Blanks did a safety save before this. But Blanks is talented. All the runners are talented. I'm sure they'll be able to get out of the whatever situation they're in for the most part. Joydurn's still doing some menuing, losing quite a bit of time on the menu, but still has almost 40 minutes remaining, so I think he'll be fine.
I'm back for a little while.
Coming up to... Oh, hey, Hayes.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, looks like things are picking up here. We're still having some technical issues. I believe Fraggle has decided to, with just the unfortunate bad RNG, has decided to concede today.
Right,
so
okay.
we'll consider that in terms of updating the points and whatnot at the end of the stream. But I'm not sure what's going on with Missing. I think his internet might have went out or something.
Maybe.
But,
yeah.
But yeah, we had a little bit of tech issues, but I built out on the fly, I built out a scene so we could look at the 3 remaining runners without having to like toggle between the 2 or have like a blank space. So.
Oh, perfect.
So we've got some action unfolding here with these 3 runners here. It looks like we have Joydurn still working on that Krauser fight. Blanks wrapping up, getting into chapter 15. All the while we have Shark. Looks like getting ready to finish the game here pretty soon.
Yeah, he's been flying. Not many deaths, not much backtracking, so just really flying through the run.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, it's interesting because we talked.
Joydurn with a death, unfortunately, with Krauser.
Ouch.
I hope he did save before this fight, because if he didn't, it might mean some trouble for him and going quite far back. So let's see how far back Joydurn has to go.
Yep, let's see. Okay,
Joydurn
he did
has
save
to go
before.
all the way back to the yeah, I think there was a save like in the middle of the Krauser fight.
Yeah.
Not sure if he reached that, but yeah, it does have to start over. It's not too much time lost, but it is like 1 to 2 minutes. And it does add up.
I mean, there's still 35 minutes on the clock, so I mean, there is more than enough time for anyone to finish the run at this phase, I would say. You know, of course, we have Shark, who is about ready to enter the end of chapter 15 into chapter 16. And then, of course, we have Blanks, who is probably getting well, okay, not really close to the halfway point of chapter 15, but getting there. And then, of course, you know, we have Joydurn, chapter 14. So, you know, there's definitely still some gameplay to be had here. But all in all, I think, honestly, like pacing-wise, this is looking pretty good. If we do happen to get Missing No back, then maybe we'll have a little bit better idea. I know that he was gaining ground. I would guess if he's still continuing. I did mention to the runners, by the way, if there were any internet issues, that I am allowing offline recordings to be used for the tournament in the event of a DC. So it's possible that Missing is actually still continuing his run and he's recording offline. So if that's the case, then of course we're going to take that into consideration at the end. Unfortunately, that means that we won't be able to see him for the rest of the stream, but that is okay because, you know, like I said, offline recording is acceptable. So
yeah, I'm hoping he did opt to record his run and it's just an internet issue, because the fact that we haven't heard from him is making me think it's probably his internet.
Indeed. And keep in mind, you guys, that it is certainly not over by any means for Fraggle or for Missing in this case. You know, these are the 2 individuals that were in first place at the end of day 1, but unfortunately have not had the best day here in day 2. But the stakes get even higher here at the start of day 3 tomorrow. So, you know, it really is anybody's game still, chat. I don't want to draw any conclusions up until this point, because this is kind of what we talked about at the beginning, that, you know, this is, if you're in the runners that we have on screen right now, Joydurn, Blanks, and Shark, this is kind of the outcome that you were hoping for, is that there'd be an opportunity, especially for Shark, who didn't get any bingos yet, unfortunately, or 0 bingos yesterday. There was an unfortunate situation there with being far behind on the scorecard that now Shark has an opportunity to get back in the money here and make up some of that ground from yesterday. So we're going to have to see how the totals shake down. I know earlier we had mentioned that there was going to be no points awarded for not finishing the run. That actually may not end up being the case because there is still a ranking based on whether you were in like 4th or 5th place. And you do actually get points based on how you place. So depending, of course, if they don't finish their runs, then they won't get the 200, but they will rank somewhere based on what their money was. So in Fragel's case, I think we'll take into consideration what his money was before he conceded for the day. So at that point, we'll be able to put a 4th and 5th place on it with just a 25-point spread in the middle. Of course, that's not as much as completing your run, and it's certainly not as much as getting 1st place, but I think we're going to see a really tight leaderboard going into day 3, and frankly, as I mentioned, it really is anybody's game here, chat. This is definitely not over. As close as these runs are getting to their conclusion, we definitely have a lot more to see as we get into day 3. And of course, as we continue to watch the remaining, I would say probably 15 to 20 minutes or so of these runs, it's looking like with where we have Blanks and Joydern right now, we will likely see these runs wrapping up here with probably about 10 to 15 minutes remaining on the timer.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. And Joydern, skillfully killed Krauser. I'm happy they didn't take another death because that would have been really unfortunate. But finally, moving on to, I think this chapter is pretty much done now. Moving on to the next chapter. Blank's quite far ahead, gonna go down this ladder. There's quite a, I think there's a royal staff down there that's worth it's worth a lot. Let me see. The royal staff is worth 25,000, so this is definitely worth going for down here. You don't really have to go too far out of the way. There's some novistadors, but I don't think they bother you on the bottom level anyway. So I think every runner should definitely be grabbing that Staff of Royalty for a good 25,000. I'll be actually very surprised if anyone misses it. I think if they miss it, they just didn't know it was there. But knowing it's there, that's a big boost and could actually make the difference between being in 1st or 2nd.
Absolutely, and we're seeing Shark sort of reach the pinnacle of this run where this is the final merchant of the game, and so Shark is really considering his options at this point because this is where your money really matters, and so trying to min-max what you're dropping into all of these different treasures to make sure that you leave no stone, no pun intended, by the way, no stone unturned as you start to go through the process of selling all of these treasures in a very meticulous process of everything that we've seen culminate here. Over these last 2.5 hours is now coming to a head because now Shark is going to have to still make sure that he has enough equipment here to continue the
let's zoom
run.
on Shark for a second, actually. I'm wondering what weapons he's electing to keep, because remember, after this point, you can't sell anything else. Everything else in your inventory, you can't sell. He's actually going backwards. I'm wondering why. What's going on? Do you have any idea what's going on, Haze? You know what the strategy?
So it looks like we might be seeing a DA0 setup here.
Right, yes, that's what it is.
I think that's what we're looking to see because with the Krauser setup, if you're going into it with minimal inventory, that is a pretty common circumstance where you have to go get the kill with the Novi back there to stop DA from accruing. And at that point, you're going to want to make sure that your inventory is paired accordingly. But the challenge here is that you also have to make sure that you have the money situation worked out, right? So in Shark's case, he's got 972,000 pesetas, that's a really good pile of cash to be wrapping up this run with. But the other thing that you have to make certain of is that you're going to have enough to set up DA0. So you can't just get rid of everything in your inventory. Otherwise, you don't have a workable template here with which to set up the DA0 to begin with. So this is what Shark is doing at the moment, is just setting up this whole DA0 process with which to make quick work of Sadler, while at the same time making sure that he doesn't have to spend any of that hard cash, which is going to be imperative to have at the end of the run if you want to have a good finish here.
Yeah, Lucky Shark's in a really good position right now where he has almost 30 minutes remaining, so he could take his sweet time right now. He can take his time and really figure out what he wants to go into the last boss with. He is trying to get his DA to go to 0. If you're in the audience and you don't know what DA stands for, DA is difficulty adjustment. So 0 is the lowest it could possibly be. That just means the game is very easy. Enemies have less health, they're less aggressive and stuff like that. So they're able to, it's really complicated to explain, but basically what they're able to manipulate the values for the DA and just make it so the game thinks that the DA is 0 when it's actually not. It's much higher than that, or should be much higher than that. So Shark's still trying to figure out what they want to do here. Honestly, a really good strategy to take their time and make sure they're doing it all right. Shark almost on. I really want to see Shark hit 1 million pesetas, which he just did. Very nice. I think he's like, oh, okay, I have 1 million now.
I think I'm good to go. I gotta get 1 million. We can't end this with less than 1 million. Come on now.
Yeah.
And speaking of that cash, it is time for our final G Fuel break of the day. So Sneevil, feel free to take a break while I cover our good friends at G Fuel. For those of you in the chat, today's stream is, and not just the stream, the entire tournament is sponsored by our good friends over at G Fuel. Thank you so much to G Fuel for sponsoring the stream. It is much appreciated by myself, and I know all of the event staff are greatly appreciative of the fact that we have an amazing sponsor to help fund these events and really drive the speedrun scene in esports. So thank you, and we're going to talk about the amazing products over at G Fuel, specifically the energy and the hydration formulas. I'm currently drinking the cotton candy flavor today, which is one of my personal favorites. Snow cone being my actual favorite. But yes, I love the cotton candy flavor. This one is inspired by Ninja. And this was one of the, after I've gotten my first shipment of G Fuel, this was my second batch that I got with this one because I had started to get a little bit more attuned to what kind of flavors I liked. And that's one thing that is interesting about G Fuel is that you kind of start, like what I recommend for people getting started on G Fuel is I recommend that you start with 1 or 2 flavors that you think you'll like and then sort of refine your future orders for the things that you develop the taste for over time. So my first shipment that I got was the hype sauce and the sage mode, and I really liked the lemonade twist with the raspberry on the hype sauce. So then I started exploring some of the lemonade combos, and I really liked going down that progression. and then I also really liked the peach nods with the sage mode, so that kind of got me more into like the divine peach and then the crimson tears with the pear. And then ultimately we landed on the snow cone and the cotton candy, which I think are actually 2 really similar flavors. But I personally prefer the snow cone option a little bit better. But if you guys are interested in checking out G Fuel, head on over to gfuel.com or type !G Fuel in the chat. And don't forget to use code HAZE for up to 30% off. And check out all the amazing flavors, guys. Again, thank you, G Fuel, so much for sponsoring this tournament. It is much appreciated, and look forward to continue working with them in the future. So I'm going to run some more Twitch ads, though, guys. I think we're going to be coming up on Sharks GG here any second now. And when we come back, we still have a couple of runners left to finish their run. So we'll see you then. See you in a couple minutes.
All right, I know my break's not over yet, but I'm going to hop back on because Shark is about to finish his run. And it looks like he has a total of 1,000,003 pesetas. So that's pretty amazing. I wasn't sure if we'd see anyone hit 1 million. But that looks like that's going to be the threshold for everyone else. Will they be able to top 1 million or not? So we're going to be keeping an eye out for Blanks and Joydern to see their totals at the end. They're both coming up to the end sections. Blanks, I think, took a death, or Ashley died, which was very unfortunate, but still trucking on. Oh, Blanks is actually done. I don't know how Ashley died. It said Ashley is missing. But coming up to pretty much the end of the run here. Joydern finishing off this section here, not too far behind everyone else, and Shark almost done with the jet ski. I'm really glad we were able to see someone hit 1 million. He actually grabbed a couple thousand more on the jet ski. There are little barrels that you can hit. So those could make a difference at the end of the day. So Shark now with a total of 1 million 3,003 pesetas. And coming up on GG's pretty much in about 5 seconds. So get ready, chat. GG! Our first finisher. Damn, Shark. Good job. GG's for Shark. Very clean run. I'm gonna guess that Shark's time, because we are going by in-game timer. So I'm gonna guess that Shark's in-game time was actually the fastest as well. So let's take a look. 2:26:05. Nice. So really looking forward to seeing if anyone else is going to be able to top that run. Like that's setting a standard. Over 1 million pesetas and also finishing it in under 2 hours and 30 minutes. So it looks like Blanks is on his final merchant. So let's see what he does over here. So yeah, this last merchant, there's a lot to think about. He's really thinking, he's like, what can I keep? What can I sell? Yeah, GG's again on Shark on that fantastic run. Really good job, Shark. And Joydern, I'm not sure if he got this. Oh, he did get the duffel bag skipped. Very, very nice. Able to save a couple seconds there. And then Blank's just trying to figure out what he wants to do with his gems. Like, look at all those treasures he has. I don't know, Hazeblade, if you want to move his name and maybe zoom into him so I could see what his total is right now. But if you want to leave it a surprise, that's cool too. I'm really, really curious though. So it looks like Joydern has a really good total right now. I see something like 700,000, and I don't think he's sold everything yet. So Joydern actually has the opportunity to take first place in terms of the amount of money made during this run from Shark. So really looking forward to if he's able to surpass that million mark and actually go in first place ahead of Shark. All right, Blanks selling all his treasures. It looks like right now Blanks has about 430,000 pesetas, but it does seem like he hasn't been selling his treasures throughout the run. Let's see how much he has now. He has 930,000. Now, I don't think the runners know what the other runners had, so it's not like Blanks is like, oh, I know I need 1 million in order to beat Shark. He has no idea. So he's going into the last fight with 930,000, which is really, really good. Might be better, like good for second place, but it's not good enough for first place. So we'll see if what Blanks does. He seemed to reload. Might want to change something that he did. Looks like Blanks is going to be going for the infinite nade strat. Much better to do this than buy a rocket launcher. You're wasting way too much money buying a rocket launcher. But I don't think Blanks will have enough money to actually surpass Shark if he doesn't sell any more things. I'm really curious to see what's in Joydern's inventory, because if he has a lot of treasures left, he might be able to beat Shark with that money total. I think the money to beat was 1,003,003 pesetas. So really, we're on the lookout. Is anyone going to beat that? All right, I was curious if anyone would go for that Illuminados pendant. Joydern actually did, and that's worth a lot. That's worth 18,000 points, or 18,000 pesetas. So Joydern still has some treasures on him. It's just how much does he have, and will he have enough to sell to get over that million mark? Looks like Blanks is selling all of his healths. Still at 970,000, not quite enough to get over that million mark. I feel like he knows this and he wants to sell as much as he can. He's like, I have some extra stuff that I don't need, but do I need it? Can I sell it? Every dollar counts. Like, I feel like a lot is going through his head right now. Also, chat, I hope you're doing awesome. Thank you for watching and supporting the event. I see a lot of people that I know from my stream, so thanks for showing up. Everyone else, you're freaking awesome. Thanks for being hype. And thanks for watching the event. I hope you've been enjoying it. All right, we got Blanks heading into the final fight. Going to go into that fire to activate the item duplication glitch. And use infinite grenades. Oh, dear. He's like, no, I'm resetting. I'm resetting. Not chat, you are the best. Chat helps make these events. You really do. You guys have the hype. You guys watch and make this event happen, so thank you so much. Also, big shout outs to the Hazeblade for putting this whole event together. He's done so much work over the last couple of weeks, so big shout outs to Hazeblade. And also shout outs to the moderators and staff in the background who are working and helping out with everything. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone involved in this event. All right, we have Joydern selling all his treasures now. So I'm curious, he doesn't seem to have very many treasures. He seemed to have already sold most of them, but he's going to be selling all of his knives and bullets that he doesn't need. I don't know if he's going to be able to hit that million mark, though. We're going to have to see. Wait, it says total. I didn't notice on the right. I think he will be able to go into first. I think Joydern, because look on the right, it says 500 and whoa! Oh, he just sold 500,000 pesetas worth of things for a total of 1,250 something thousand. My eyesight is terrible and it's really small, but whoa, he is in the lead now, at least in part for the total. Wow. I have to say, Joydern, you're a pretty good businessman yourself. Really know how to work your money. That is a lot of money. Joydern clearly in first now, at least coming out of this merchant. I think Joydern has this in the bag. Must have picked up that's a big difference though. It's like 200,000 difference between Joydern and Blanks. Blanks is very, very close to the other runner, to Shark, but wow, this is crazy. So we have Blanks with 970k, and then we had, Blanks, what happened? I looked away, did he die? I'm guessing he died, now he has to redo his DA0 again, which is really unfortunate. There's only 16 minutes remaining, which is enough time, but is it enough to be able to do everything you need to do and cross the finish line in time? Yeah, Joydern's still trying to figure out if he has enough money, what he should pick up. I think he's trying to do a DA0 strat right now. Trying to manipulate his inventory in the game to thinking that the DA is 0 and that the game's really easy for an easier last boss fight. Blanks is really hurt right now. I think he has health though. He did that on purpose, so he doesn't have health. Wait, what is Blanks doing? Sorry, I'm just confused. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. But Blanks took damage on purpose, has no health left, and yeah, I'm not sure. There's probably a strategy behind that I'm just not getting. But to me, to just, anybody, that looks pretty dangerous, having no health going into the final boss fight. So looking forward to seeing what he has up his sleeve. Yeah, both of these runners trying to set up a DA0 glitch with 15 minutes remaining. Okay, he got some health, so that's good. But yeah, this is a lot more difficult for the runners because they don't want to buy a rocket launcher, which you normally do for this fight. So, trying to figure out what weapons they need. I think both of them will be using the grenade duplication glitch or infinite grenade glitch. But we'll have to see. I think Joydern is done. He's like, I'm done with my menu. It's time to go fight. No, he's not ready yet. They're doing their speedrunner things to manipulate the values, and I don't think it's right. Oh. So yeah, both just trying to set up for the last fight. So basically, Callie, the goal for today is to end the run with the most money possible. So, you don't want to buy the rocket launcher because it costs a lot of money, right? So you want to be able to fight Sadler without the rocket launcher. So that's basically the point, is to end with as much money as you possibly can. Also, Ashley the Heart, thank you for gifting a sub to Mr. Charisma. Gifting subs and bits and stuff really helps out the channel. I mean, this is a big event. Kay's put on a lot of work, so I really appreciate you guys subbing to the channel and giving bits and stuff like that. And Mr. Charisma, enjoy your sub to the channel. Hazeblade's pretty awesome. Also, if you want to follow the channel, Hazeblade streams Resident Evil all the time. He's a really talented speedrunner. Plays other things too if you get sick of Resident Evil once in a while. And yeah, feel free to follow the channel. Also to keep an eye out for future events. I believe there's going to be a Resident Evil marathon next month. Alright, there's Yoshi again. They're both having some trouble here. They know they have time left, but the time is ticking. They cannot spend forever in this section. I think they've been here for about 4 minutes. Yeah.
Coming back into the fray here as pretty close to what we predicted here, sitting right around 13 minutes left on the timer. It's a little closer than I thought it was going to be, though, honestly. Like, I had figured maybe 15 minutes was around the time everybody would be wrapping up, but looks like we did have a couple of memes here kind of approaching the end of the run here. It seems like Blanks maybe struggling a little bit to figure out the math here to lab out that DA0 setup, and I think Joydern probably in a pretty similar situation here.
Yeah,
but just
they're both doing the same thing. They've been stuck here for a little bit now.
Yeah, Joydern's got an insane amount of cash too, 1.2 mil.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because the runners don't know what the other runners have. So it's like, do I have enough? Should I sell something else? But Joydern seems to be in the lead, honestly. We had Shark finish with around 1 million. Joydern has 1,200,000 about, and then Blanks is just shy of 1 million. So it's quite close, but it really shows that grabbing those few extra treasures really add up near the end.
Yeah, for sure. And with only 12 minutes on the clock, it's never been more important to try to clutch up here. And it seems like the runners are really struggling to set up this DA0, which you know, to be fair, there is a lot of math involved, and you're allowed to pause for as long as you need to work out the math. So that's not a big deal. But we're having some execution issues on the Joydern side of things, and this is going to be interesting to see how it all plays out tomorrow, because this is a required strat for the No Merchant Pro that we're doing tomorrow. So it looks like he was able to get it this time, but definitely a bit of a scary situation there, because in the No Merchant Pro run tomorrow, you're really not going to be able to make too many mistakes like that and still be able to get a payoff. And it looks like Blanks is kind of over there agonizing a little bit, trying to just desperately figure out what he's got to do. And then he also knows that he can't really heal right now either because of the low HP situation. He's just trying desperately to figure out what to do, and he just can't seem to wrap his head around what he needs to do in order to make this situation work. I think he's gonna probably have to work out something with the heals and the and his knives in order to get it to work, but his math is just not quite checking out, and so he's trying to figure out where the math is, but he just can't quite seem to nail it. I think he's close, but I think he still has a little ways to go.
Yeah, I'm kind of worrying now, because if it takes him like an extra 5 minutes, he should have time to finish, but you want to make sure you have time to finish.
Absolutely.
So, like, say he's not able to get this DA0, how hard would it be for him to do it on normal DA?
Yeah, and it would be pretty tough to do it on normal DA because you don't really have the right kind of timing to be able to get Sadler before he jumps off, and that's really like the turning point for No Merchant Pro, is like just trying to figure out. I think what Blanks is probably realizing here is that he really doesn't have a whole lot of time to figure this out, and and he's also running dangerously low on resources, so he's gonna have to try and determine what the best pathway is going to be here to try and work this out. And I can tell he's getting a little frustrated here just trying to work out that math. That math is just, it's just
the hand on the forehead.
Yeah, definitely a rough spot in the math. I mean, thing is, like, we can't really help him, right? I mean, if it were just me being a lurker in chat, if I were him right now, I would be begging chat to help him figure out this math, because you know, it's definitely a situation where you really don't want to have to put yourself into a bind here to try to work out what the numbers are going to look like. But yeah, I mean, he's at a situation now where, like, he's down to the last 9 minutes. It's going to take him probably about, from the time he gets the Sadler kill, probably you know, 2 to 3 minutes to get out of there. So he's got about 5 minutes to figure that out, which in the grand scheme of things, you know, it's not the worst situation to be in, but it's definitely not a great situation either. I mean, 5 minutes is a lot of time, but that time is ticking away quickly, and we're not really seeing a lot of action out of him. So I'm nervous for him, I gotta say.
I am
very
getting a
nervous
little bit
for him.
nervous, but I have faith. Like, Blanks has pulled through some crazy situations already. I'm sure he can pull himself out of this one. I'm just hoping he's able to do it in time. So, yeah, we have
Agreed.
Joydern coming up on the GGs with a very big total, too. 1.2 million about, if I'm reading that right. Which is really, I was surprised people hit 1 million, but they seem to not have too much of an issue doing that. Even Blanks is just shy of 1 million. And then we have our GGs for Joydern.
Yo, GGs.
We got some GGs in the chat for Joydern. Really, really good run.
1,233,580. Wow.
Wow. Was Joydern behind earlier? I can't remember.
They were kind of neck and neck. Him and Shark were really close, honestly, for a while. And yeah, unfortunately, just things kind of transpired over the course of time. And yeah, definitely led down a pretty rough path there that, you know, I think it's becoming increasingly more clear that just with the tech issues and unfortunately the concession that we had earlier, we do have a much tighter leaderboard looking to be arriving here soon. And I think, you know, all we really have left to do at this point is just kind of see what's going to happen with Blanks. And speaking of Blanks, we're going to zoom in on Blanks real quick and really for the remainder of the run here and just try to see if we can't maybe just, you know, hope that he's able to.
He's been here for a while, like
yeah,
a good 8 to 10 minutes.
I think he's just struggling to work out the math, and you know, it looks like, you know, just a quick eyeball here. I'm assuming he's waiting on a 500 item point bonus from the autosave coming up, so that means that he needs to drop. Looks like about 180 points or so. Which I could tell you right now what the math is in order to get that, but I think that it probably treads the line of, like, you know, he's got to kind of like he could totally enlist chat to help him with the math. But yeah. I think he's starting to realize that he really doesn't have much time. And I think if it really comes down to the wire, I think what he probably ends up doing is just says, you know what, in the interest
buying a
of
rocket launcher.
I think that's what he's going to do, because I just don't think that he's willing to, he's not willing to not be able to beat the game. He was
honestly,
so
I think
close on the math.
This is the smart decision in this situation, though.
Yeah, he was so close on the math too. Like, it really came out. He actually could have kept firing his handgun and he could have made it, but he had it divisible by 12, which the handgun drops 12 points every time you shoot. He actually would have had it because he needed to drop 180, which that would have been 15 handgun rounds, and he had the handgun ammo. But yeah, I think he was just. I can tell you exactly what's happening is he was stressed out and he just couldn't do the math. Like it happens
doing math while panicking is not ideal.
It's literally impossible. Like I don't even know how to say it any better than that. Like it's really hard to do math like that when the pressure's on and you know that you don't have a lot of time to work with. And I'm sure chat was in his ear being like, hey, there's only 5 minutes left, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, what are you gonna do? So, you know, yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know, at the end of the day, you got to make those calls, and at the end of the day, here we are. You know, he's getting through. He was able to get the rocket launcher, you know, and ultimately, it looks like we're still going to be able to get a GG, and he's not going to be forfeiting those completion points. Which, at the end of the day, that's really all you can expect. And I think if we work out the totals here, I don't think Blanks actually would have been able to move up on the leaderboard anyway. So this was absolutely the right call for him to just sell the stuff, get the rocket launcher, and just finish the game. Because even with the money that he had, he didn't have quite enough to take the second place spot. So, you know, it was definitely the right call. There's definitely no question about that.
Yeah, I can bet in his mind, though, he's like, oh, if I buy this rocket launcher, like, it's going to put me way behind everyone else. But he doesn't know that it doesn't really make a difference just in the situation, so.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when we look holistically at the event, this is definitely going to be, sort of one of those kind of make or break moments in terms of just like, are we going to be able to get these completion points? Because we're really coming down. I mean, he's got 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock to get out of this place, and he should be able to with no issues here, as long as he doesn't crash the jet ski here.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, what would happen if he crashed it? He won't crash it. I mean, there's a 99.99%
we're keeping our fingers
chance
crossed,
he's fine.
you know.
Yeah. There's always that 0.1, you know. But no, they've done this part so many times. This is the one part you need to know like the back of your hand. You don't want to lose your run on the jet ski part. It's just it just hurts. It hurts more than like other deaths too, because a lot of the time when you die by enemies, like it's RNG, it wasn't your fault. This, it's all in your control. If you mess up, it is your fault, and it makes you feel terrible. So I'm hoping Blanks will be fine. I'm assuming he will be fine, and we're gonna get our final GGs in just like about 30 seconds or so.
Did we see what time Joydern had? I might have to go back and look at that.
I wrote it down actually. It was 2:38:31, and then Shark was 2:26:05.
Okay.
Yeah.
That should give us a good read here on what the totals will be here. And I'll step behind the curtain and do some math once we get the GG here from Blanks. Well, it's not GG yet. Anything could happen here between now and these last 10 seconds.
Come on, Blanks,
These
let's
rocks
go!
are falling on the sides. All right, that should be
and
a GG.
GG!
Very, very nice, Mr. Blanks. Coming in clutch, right down to the wire there on that those last couple minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with how all the runners did today. 2:44.
Let's see, so he ended with 8:32.740 and a 2:44.58. Wow.
Yeah, really good times from our runners, especially with all the backtracking and the extra things they had to incorporate into the run. So I'm really impressed. Just like yesterday, very impressed. And has just under 2 minutes to spare, which was a little bit stressful, but he was able to finish it off. So I hope all the runners are proud of themselves for today, because they really deserve to be proud of themselves. Like, this is such high-level competition, high-level challenges. Like, this is not for the faint of heart. Not at all.
For sure, and this was a pretty intense day too, because we had we had a lot of those early game deaths that unfortunately kind of took Fraggle out for the day. And, he'll get some points just for where his placing is on the, like, he'll be likely in 5th place, I think is probably how that'll shake down on the challenge side of things, but there won't be a bonus.
So he will still get a couple of points. Yeah,
there'll be a little bit of something in there to sort of, get a little bit of kickback. And I think, honestly, what we're going to see once I step behind the curtain here and do some math, we have the G Fuel play of the day coming up, by the way. So stay tuned for that, chat. The stream is not over yet. We still have some content for you guys still. But yeah, just a lot of the math is going to shake down tomorrow, where I think we're going to have a pretty level playing field for all of the runners tomorrow. I mean, I think
it's going to be really intense tomorrow. It's make or break it, really.
For sure. And so, I think it's just everything that we've seen today, though. We like the village, we saw a huge spread in those first 5 chapters. We had Missing and Fraggle, who were our 1st and 2nd place runners going into today, fall behind the pack and just not able to get that lead back. And that just was, I don't even know what to say.
It was a little bit surprising.
We kind of foreshadowed this inadvertently, because we were speculating at the beginning of the day that, if you were in the other 3 runners' shoes, that's kind of what you were hoping for. You were kind of hoping that things would not go well for Missing and Fraggle, and ultimately they would end up taking the back seat on a lot of those things. And that's exactly what happened. And I think, we can speculate on how that would have shaken down. I think, honestly, we probably still would have seen Missing in 4th on the speedrun side of things, as well as Fraggle taking 5th, just based on where things landed. But the money is like a whole different circumstance, where we could have seen a money circumstance where potentially Fraggle and Missing came in with a whole boatload of cash that would have just completely turned the tides on things. But unfortunately, with Fraggle conceding on the day, and we're not really sure. I suppose what happened, from what I'm hearing, is that Missing actually lost power, so unfortunately was not able to compete for the rest of of the day. So we do have
the
to go.
most unfortunate situations too. Like
yeah,
you can't,
definitely,
there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, definitely an anticlimactic situation to happen. It's, unfortunately we do have to have like, runners here and participating in order to be able to fully and holistically award points. But, they'll still get something from the kickback on the challenge side of things. So we'll take that into account. We do have rules in place for when that happens. So I'll just have to go back, review the rules, publish that out, and we should have an updated total. But I think we're gonna see a tight leaderboard tomorrow, chat. I think it's gonna be a really, really close race, and it is gonna come down. I think in the grand scheme of things, it's gonna come down to who has the best no merchant run tomorrow.
Yeah. And I do wonder how much the runners have been practicing behind the scenes for the no merchant, because that is what they had to submit to get in. So they're all familiar with it, but it's a hard run. Like, there's a lot of, I'm really excited for tomorrow because I haven't watched too many no merchant runs and they're just nuts. Can't do half of the strategies that you do in the normal professional run. So looking forward to seeing how well things go for people, how terrible it goes for people, and seeing who comes out on top and seeing how that affects the final leaderboard. So yeah.
Absolutely. And guys, we still have 2 more things for the rest of the day, so don't go anywhere, guys. We still have the leaderboards. We're going to give you guys the updated point totals, and we still have the G Fuel play of the day. I'm going to slide back behind the curtain real quick and double check on those 2 things, and we'll get those totals for you, and then we'll start wrapping up the day. I'm going to pass it off to Sneevil. We're gonna stall, chat. That's what we're gonna do. But I will be back with you guys
stalling
here in just a couple of minutes, guys, and we're gonna get those totals, and we'll get that G Fuel play of the day. We'll be gaming.
All right, guys, I think you're going to be stuck with me for a little bit. I hope that's okay. So what did you think of today, chat? Do you think it was good? You have a good time? Like, what was your favorite moment? Is there anything that surprised you? Like, I really, it was cool how we didn't know who was, like, in the lead until we got to the end. And it's just like, holy crap, they suddenly have, like, 1.2 million out of nowhere. I think it was a really good day, though. I think all the runners did really well. I'm glad that Blanks was able to finish the run. That was so intense. I'm like, if he doesn't buy this rocket launcher now, he's not going to make it. Like, he's just not going to make it and not able to get that 200 completion bonus for the points, which really would have set him back on the leaderboards. Today was pure anxiety in a good or bad way. I mean, sometimes it's fun to watch stressful things happen to other people, not to yourself. But I hope you enjoyed it. Either way, it was fun. This is platinum content. Great job. Everyone did a great job today. Hayes did such a great job. He's been working behind the scenes, also hosting with me. So he's got a lot on his plate. And also, favorite moment was when the first runner hit almost exactly 1 million. That was pretty cool. I think he was 3 off of 1 million. He had 1,000,003 pesetas. Like, that's kind of nuts that he was so close to hitting that exact million. Races are always fun, and I know Hayes is planning to do a lot more events like this. Like he's mentioned, he wants speedrunning to be an esport, and I mean, why shouldn't it be an esport? Am I right? Because do you see the high-level gameplay that they're doing? It's not like other esports games, like a lot of the first-person shooters, but I think it takes just as much skill and stuff like that. So I'd love for the speedrun community to come kind of get into esports a bit more tournaments and stuff like this, because friendly competition is so much fun. Yeah, I personally love doing races and stuff. Like, I'm really hoping there's more of these events in the future. And remember, we're not done with today's event yet, because we have tomorrow, day 3. We're only on day 2. We have a whole other day of festivities and races, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. And yeah, I just really hope you guys enjoyed it. Hazeblade is just right now, adding up all the totals. It shouldn't take him too much longer. Yeah, GG's to all the runners as well. Like, the runners, can we just get a big round of applause for the runners? So intense, I could tell, like, there was so much stress. I saw Blanks, he's like trying to get the DA0. He just, at one point, he goes like this. He's like, I'm like, oh no, Blanks, don't give up, don't give up. And the bingo card was, so if you missed yesterday, we did bingo, and basically what that was every runner had a bingo card with different challenges. For example, collect blue medallion, do a blue medallion quest, end the run with like full HP, kill Sadler without a rocket launcher, just a bunch of challenges, and they tried to complete them to get bingos, and they'd get points based on how many bingos they'd get. So that was yesterday. That was a lot of fun. We do have a lot in store tomorrow. We do. One second. Guys, this is a good time to hydrate, okay? Water is good. This is technically tea, but you know, maybe I'll drink water too. I talk a lot, so my mouth gets dry. But yeah, I'm really impressed by the runners. I'm still like recovering from that blanks clutch at the end. It is unfortunate that he had to buy the rocket launcher, but I mean, it didn't really make a difference in the end. And I do hope Missing's doing okay despite the circumstances, because it does suck when your power goes out. Like, what do you do? There's nothing you can do. There's no way you can prepare for that. You never know when your power is going to go out. So that was just really unfortunate, but I hope that Missing, because Missing was, I believe, in first place after day 1. So if Missing's able to still get a couple of points from today and able to get like first tomorrow, they might still be able to end up in the top 3 for that prize pool. But remember, guys, we do have a prize pool that you can contribute towards to make it bigger. So, all of the money goes straight towards the runners, and do exclamation point prize if you'd like to see that prize pool get bigger, make it more intense, you know what I mean? Tea does hydrate, it's made out of water, but it also has caffeine in it, so I don't know. I don't know, man, but, yeah, I'm excited to see the totals. So, ending yesterday, I'm trying to remember what the leaderboard was. It was first was Missing No, second was Fraggle, third, let me just check 1 second. I just want to see what the leaderboard was from yesterday. So we had Missing No with 686. We had Fraggle with 650. Blanks with 616. Joydern with 465. And Shark with 200. So it's kind of interesting because the top 2 runners today either had their power go out or they couldn't finish. So the top 2 are probably going to be going down a bit, while the 3 at the bottom are going to be moving up. So I'm not sure what order it's going to be in, but I think Shark has a good opportunity to move into the money pool and move into 3rd place. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Shark can get into that money pool area. But yeah, I'm just really happy with how today's went. And I'm excited to see who's going to be the new person in first place. I'm assuming that one of the bottom 3 is going to be able to move up. What's sabotage, chat? What is sabotage? I didn't sabotage anything. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to stop doing my creepy stare. But yeah, I think Shark's going to be able to move up quite a bit. Joydern is going to be moving up a lot, actually. And yeah, I believe Joydern had the most money at the end, so he's going to be moving far up that leaderboard. Sorry if I scared you, chat. All right, so day 3, if you're curious what day 3 is, tomorrow we're starting at the same time. It's 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we're going to be doing no merchant run. It's just no merchant professional new game run. There's no like special catch or anything like that, because trust me, they don't need it because the run is so hard on their own. If you have not seen any no merchant professional runs, I definitely recommend coming in tomorrow and just watching the chaos that it is, because that's one of the hardest runs in Resident Evil 4 Remake. I'd say the next hardest run is new game pro, no merchant, but glitchless, because at least with the category they're doing tomorrow, they can like do door skips and stuff like that, so that really helps out. But it's painful. It's painful, so if you want to see the pain, come in tomorrow 2 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to be doing more races tomorrow, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Alright, so it seems like Hazeblade is probably almost ready with the points by now. But also, guys, what was your favorite moment? I think I already asked that, but what was the moment where the runner got screwed the most? That really hurt your heart? For me, it was probably, who was it that died on Del Lago? There was one runner who died on Del Lago, and they had to go all the way back to redo the swamp room. I thought that was really bad. Yeah, there was the red mist in the Red Mist Valley. That hurt, but at least you're able to save right before that, right? So that wasn't too bad. But yeah, that did really suck. I mean, the thing is, when you're running on pro, like, just so many opportunities for death. Because the thing is, a zombie can grab you, let go of you. As soon as they let go, you don't get like an invincibility period where you can just run away. You just get grabbed again, and then you could be at full health, take a couple hits, and die with, you can't do anything. So yeah, really looking forward to tomorrow's events and looking forward to seeing who's going to be our top 3. I mean, these 5 runners are so good at what they do. It's been such fierce competition. It's kind of interesting to see how much things have changed from day 1 to day 2, because I think the leaderboard is going to flip on itself. But yeah, really looking forward to that. Looking forward to Haze and seeing the totals. Also, we have the G Fuel Play of the Day coming up. Chat, this is your opportunity. You get to vote on what you think is the G Fuel Play of the Day. And there's going to be 2 clips that you'll see. We'll show them one by one. And then after that, there's going to be like a 3-minute poll where you vote. And the winner of that actually takes home a G Fuel care package. So I think Haze is just setting that up right now as well. And yeah, I love this game. Honestly, guys, if you like Resident Evil speedrunning and stuff, it looks really hard. Like, you're watching some of the hardest speedruns you probably can see in Resident Evil 4 Remake. But if you want to become a speedrunner, you don't have to start with the hardest strats. You can start with the easier strats, slowly move your way up. But I definitely recommend, like, speedrunning's so much fun. There's great communities. I love the Resident Evil community, especially the speedrun community. Everyone's so nice. People come into your chat and help you with strats. And if you ever want to get into speedrunning, just feel free to, like, you can honestly just DM me. I'll redirect you to, like, the Discord servers and stuff like that. And Tribe Wolf, I'm glad you enjoyed the runs. And Hazeblade, can we get another clap for Hazeblade? Because Hazeblade's been doing so much behind the scenes. He's working his butt off right now, trying to get those totals down.
And speaking of totals,
okay,
it is time to reveal the amazing leaderboard, you guys. I've crunched the numbers, and we do have a lot of movement on this leaderboard. So let's take a look at it, guys. Here is your new standings for the end of day 2. We have Blanks coming up in first place with 1187. And a lot of this movement is really coming from the fact that we did have our top 2, unfortunately, unable to finish, but they did get some residual points off of the back end with the sort of fail-safe rule sets to where we're able to still progress and award people points in the event of tech issues. So that puts us in a situation where we have Blanks with 1187. We have Joydern coming in with 1097, making up some considerable ground from yesterday. And Missing, although unfortunately not able to finish the run, still able to kind of maintain being in the money there with getting some of those residual points from the from the backup systems that we have in place again. So, and then Fregelhausen getting knocked out of the money, unfortunately, but still at 925, which is again, like, so incredibly close considering what the spreads are on the point totals here once we get into day 3. And then Shark still in 5th place, but massively bridging the gap from yesterday with unfortunately not getting any bingos, able to climb and really start winning back here. And honestly, I think there's definitely still a chance here for anybody to still land in the money at the end of tomorrow.
I'm honestly surprised how close it is, and Shark made a big comeback. Only had 200 points yesterday, able to get 613 today. That's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, with the combination of the points there coming from the money and then also still coming in first place there, that was a pretty considerable bonus being added to the score there, which really helped make up a lot of that ground. And really where you're also seeing that spread close in is the fact that Missing and Fregel both didn't get their 200-point completion bonus. So unfortunately, that means that they're going to sort of fall back. And, you know, while it's unfortunate that Missing's power went out there, unfortunately, we do have those fail-safes in place for a reason. And you hate to see it, but you know, here we are. So, and even then, you know, we would have potentially seen a situation where if Missing kind of finished in a similar boat to where they're at now, we could have likely seen maintaining first place, but it being really within a 10 to 20 point spread there. So yeah, definitely some really close calls here that unfortunately, again, you really hate to see you know, things like that happen, but the show goes on, and the points keep accruing, so here we are.
Yeah, you don't have to just deal with in-game RNG. You got to deal with in-life RNG, and that just sucks. But I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and before we wrap things up for the day, of course, we do have that G Fuel play of the day right around the corner, you guys, and so we'll be jumping into that here in just a moment. I'm going to pull it up for you guys real quick. We have Two pretty awesome clips here that, again, also happen to be occurring at the same point in the run, but a different point than what happened yesterday. So we're going to see, actually, if Joydern can't possibly take another chance to win the G Fuel Play of the Day today. Sadly, losing the G Fuel Play of the Day yesterday to Shark, but maybe it's their chance today to shine. We have 2 sections coming at you from the water hall. And I'm gonna turn the music down here a little bit, and maybe we'll be able to listen in a little bit on what happens during this sequence here. But I'm gonna get into it for you guys and take a look at Waterhall, which we all know to be a pretty toxic section. But what we're really looking for here is the fact that when Ashley is turning this crank, if she even gets grabbed at all, it resets the crank sequence and a ton of enemies catch up, and it makes this section so much harder. We see Joydern effortlessly dispatch after missing that rifle shot while the guy is standing right next to Ashley, and the risks associated with taking that shot are tremendous, because if you miss, you can actually accidentally kill Ashley. Like, this is one of those moments that really makes or breaks the run. We're gonna watch it one more time here just to see. So unfortunately, he gets an arm shot instead of the actual kill on this Ganado here, and then gets the back shot here, but this guy comes right up and he's able to shoot through the banister and get that kill, which, again, had he missed that shot, he could have potentially killed Ashley. So what an incredible save here from Joydern, and just an absolutely insane play.
And also that dodge right there was amazing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the follow-up there, going into critical HP, and just all around, it was a rough section there, but overall, a really, really clean recovery there that honestly, you know, that just goes to show you the high-level gameplay that comes out of these runners. So the next play we have here is from a similar section, a little further into the run. We have, for some reason, I thought this was Waterhall, but it's not Waterhall. But this one is another really, really clean section here that we're going to see out of blanks here. A very, pretty much perfect dispatch of the double Garrador section, which unfortunately you don't get to see this kill unfold very often, because a lot of times you just don't have the amount of nades necessary to make this happen. But you really can't do this Garrador section much cleaner than what we're seeing here by blanks. You know, not necessarily like seeing anything particularly clutch here, but just really, really clean kill. Like, you really can't ask for a much cleaner kill here. Incredible section there, incredibly done by blanks, and all in all, just a really good section. So moderators, my moderators that have been hunting down for these clips, let's go ahead and get the poll up in the chat for the next 3 minutes. Chat, it is up to you to vote who's walking away with the G Fuel Play of the Day. Is Joydern gonna win back from that that very close vote session? It was only like a 20 vote spread. It was like a 20 vote spread between Joydern and Shark, but Shark just happened to edge out there right on the end, and unfortunately Joydern had to face the music. But it might be time to try to win back again today and see if maybe today is his day, or maybe Blanks' incredibly clean demonstration of that double Garrador kill is going to edge Joydern out once again, and unfortunately deny him the chance at the play of the day for day 2. But time will tell, you guys. Get those votes in the chat. We want to know what you guys thought was the insane play of the day, the G Fuel play of the day for that matter, because as we mentioned before, G Fuel is going to be sending a care package to the winner of the plays of the day for all 3 days of the competition. We had Shark with that incredible play yesterday in the canyon, being able to not just survive, which is already impressive enough because that section is super toxic, but also to be able to shoot a barrel, which then triggered a chain reaction that blew up the dynamite
that was great.
While also dodging the hatchet. Like, that was so insane. Like, that whole play was just so insane. Well deserved on Shark's side for winning the play of the day. Joydern edging out, unfortunately, by only about 20 votes there, but it looks like we've got a ton of support coming in for Joydern, but Blanks is just getting, also, it is neck and neck here on the votes, guys.
I'm gonna take a little peek. Oh, it is neck and neck.
Absolutely nuts. You guys can use channel points to vote extra times, so vote the heck. Just spam whoever you want to win that G Fuel play of the day. They're gonna get that care package complimentary or compliments of G Fuel. Again, if you guys haven't had a chance to do so, please head on over to gfuel.com. Check out their website. Check out some of those amazing flavors. I've been sipping on this cotton candy since we started, and it has been absolutely tasty. I love G Fuel, you guys. Thank you to G Fuel so much for sponsoring not just the stream, but also this entire tournament. And we wouldn't be doing what we're doing today without their support. So thank you. Thank you to all of the people on the back end that have been working hard. Guys, just a few seconds here left. It's between Joydern and Blanks. There's only 25 votes between the two. 18 votes spread, 15 votes spread. It is so close. Guys, go absolutely nuts with the channel points and the votes. I want to see who's going to be the winner. It is so close. Joydern coming in with a 50 vote spread. Holy cow. Joydern is just absolutely crushing this gap, you guys. Keep those votes coming in, guys. Spend the heck out of those channel points. I want to see who the victor is going to be, and it looks like Joydern is just completely annihilating the votes now. And as we wrap up these final couple of seconds here, it does look like Joydern, with Dave coming in at 27,000 channel points, going absolutely nuts. Joydern taking home the G Fuel Play of the Day care package. Congratulations. Let's watch that clip one more time and just see the clutchness play out in all of its glory. We have the insane parry with the shot and the recovery on the snipes with the pistol, coming out and saving it, even though he's taking a ton of damage, barely able to get out of there and get the job done in classic God Gamer fashion. Congratulations, Joydern, for the incredible play. Enjoy that G Fuel care package. Just coming out of that section, just incredibly clean. And can we also say just the comeback from Joydern on this competition so far, just coming in late and and being able to just, you know, get the job done. That's all I can really say. Just getting the job done, dude.
Yeah, I really like these clips too, because they show a good snapshot as just the skill needed to be in this tournament. So absolutely. Well, yeah. It has come time to wrap up day 2. I've had an absolute blast these last 2 days, and I cannot wait for day 3, when hopefully we have all of our runners here and we can finish things out strong and really see who the winners are going to be. It's so close. I don't even. I need really to sleep on how close it is. I need to sleep on it before I can even predict who my predictions are going to be on this. I got to sleep on it. I think it's honestly like my brain has just been racked around this last hour, really, as things have really developed and gone one way or another. So, but yeah, guys. Hope you guys have had an incredible time with this. Again, thanks so much to G Fuel for sponsoring the tournament. We're going to be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's 6 p.m. GMT. Hope to see you all there, where we're going to be doing the No Merchant Professional Ultimate Resident Evil 4 Showdown. I cannot wait. A couple of quick housekeeping slash heads up type things. As Sneeble had mentioned earlier, I am doing a big speedrun marathon at the end of August. If you guys want to be a part of that marathon, you can do so by one of our co-sponsors taking advantage of the HelloFresh subscriptions. You can type !HelloFresh in the chat. That'll give you a coupon code that has to do with POG. POG HF 112563, I think is what it is. That'll get you 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. And you can carry that discount into future boxes as well. I think it layers over the course of multiple weeks of orders. But if you guys are looking for amazing recipes with incredibly quality ingredients, check out HelloFresh, guys. ! HelloFresh in the chat. And for every 2 subscribers that we get to HelloFresh, I'm going to add a game to that marathon in August. So if you guys want to make that marathon bigger and better, check out HelloFresh. Go get your fresh ingredients and those amazing recipes today and start enjoying some incredibly delicious food, which, by the way, you don't need to be an experienced cook to be able to prepare. My fiance and I, we were not very good cooks when we started, and we've been using HelloFresh for a couple of years now, and we've greatly expanded our repertoire of cooking. So check them out, guys. They're absolutely awesome. I'll post in the chat for you guys, and that is going to conclude today's festivities. But again, catch day 3, the finale of the Hazeblade Invitational, tomorrow at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We'll see you guys there, and until then, take care, guys. Bye.